A tale as old as time. A legendary champion in search of another champion has found his match. A duel that transcends bullets and dust. Both men undefeated. Both men larger than life itself. Facing each other under the watchful eye of history. Beyond blood, sweat, and fire, and the mercy of the rough seas. Moved by the ravaging rival. Oh, swift rival. And their fists will speak a language older than words. They will speak loudly. And there is just one way to be remembered for all of eternity. Let's get ready to rumble! At Riyadh! It is time to fight.
Hello, hello, welcome wherever you are joining us around the world. Welcome to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We are in Boulevard City, in the iconic capital city of Riyadh, for what is quite simply the start of an iconic fight week, perhaps 25 years in the making. On Saturday night, we will crown the first undisputed world heavyweight champion of the century. Will it be the undefeated WBC and lineal world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, or will it be the undefeated unified world heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk? All questions will be answered on Saturday. And let me just give you folks a little bit of context. 1999 was the last time we had an undisputed world heavyweight champion. 1999, there was no iPhone, there was no YouTube, no Twitter, no Facebook, forget about Instagram. Since then there have been 3 popes, 5 US presidents have reigned, 7 UK prime ministers have reigned, but not one man has reigned as the undefeated, undisputed world heavyweight champion. That all changes on Saturday. Today's all about the grand arrivals, and I'm delighted to be in the company of some pretty heavy hitters. Mr. Matthew Macklin, former world title challenger turned expert analyst. How are you, Matt?
Not bad, Dave, not bad.
And I tell you, you can't do a big fight week without the walking, talking boxing encyclopedia that is Steve Bunce. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, fantastic there, fantastic. You said we were in Riyadh, but I wasn't sure if we were in maybe Cairo, and 10 minutes earlier I was over there in Paris, half an hour earlier I had a coffee over there in Rome, so I'm not quite sure where we are. Perhaps you'll convince me we're in Riyadh by the end of the show.
Well, listen, Steve, I'll tell you where we are. We are just days away from crowning, look, unless there's a draw, from crowning a new undisputed world heavyweight champion. Tell me your thoughts heading into this iconic week.
Well, relieved that we're here, relieved that the fight is getting closer minute by minute, because I'm not going to be one of those guys and after time who says, oh, I knew it would happen, or I knew it wouldn't happen. In 2021-22, I wasn't sure. Last year, I was convinced it was happening. Absolutely convinced it was happening. Then when it fell out of bed in about April last year, I don't know about you, but I honestly thought then, and I'm going to say it now, I thought it was finished then. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to say, oh, I knew all along it would come back. No, last year, I did a piece with Frank Warren, and I was in a car recording, going live to 5 Live with Frank Warren coming through one ear, going out, and I was convinced. I could tell how deflated Frank Warren was, Dev, and I thought, this fight is absolutely finished. You know what? I don't mind being wrong. Once a year, I'm allowed to be wrong. I was wrong then, once a year, okay?
Well, listen, I'm glad that you were. Matt, look, we just heard it from Steve there as well. The road to undisputed has not been an easy one. There's been breakdowns, there's been diversions, but we are here, days away.
Look, even go way back to, you know, Madison Square Garden, Anthony Joshua getting knocked out, stopped by Andy Ruiz, and
it's all part of the big thing.
You know, it's all played its part, hasn't it? In terms of getting to Undisputed, you know, the titles remain the same, but the participants have changed. It's like musical chairs, you know what I mean? But we're here, and two undefeated guys, you know. Both who absolutely believe they are the number one guy. You know, we know Fury's confidence is real, but let me tell you, so is Oleksandr Usyk's. We did a one-to-one with him yesterday. We had him in the room, and you know, if you were sitting on the fence, you'd be going with Usyk.
I think he's right there. I was going to make that point. Matt's stolen it. Won't be the first thing he steals from me tonight, so I'm going to try and nick a few of his lines. Don't worry about that. But I sat down with Usyk yesterday. I think it was after you'd done your Sky stuff, and I was sitting with him doing the TNT stuff. And not only was he confident, but I started to believe in him. I started to see things, and I started to really wonder. I started to really doubt. And I'm not quite sure. I've seen a fighter in a fight, even any big fight, be as Fury's calm, but I found Usyk just so relaxed. So if you'd have measured his heartbeat, it'd have been like one of those Ethiopian marathon runners. You know, the guys that have like about 10 beats. 10, yeah, exactly. He was that calm. I'd love to have got a nurse in to take his pulse, man. The man was not even breathing.
Tell me this, Steve. You have sat in front of Tyson Fury throughout his entire 16-year career.
Good and bad.
Listen, you've seen that boy become a man. What are you seeing from him this week?
Well, I'm seeing people that say, "Oh, you always said it." No, I'm seeing the most focused Tyson Fury I've ever seen there by some considerable distance, and that isn't just measured in the fact that his waist is a bit slimmer and his shoulders are a little bit firmer and his biceps, not unlike your son, who are a little bit sharper. No press ups just yet. So, in all fairness, I'm seeing a guy that physically looks absolutely brilliant. And then I do a thing where I want to look at him. I like to look. I want to just get a sense of the man. Have a look at his eyes. See how he interacts with his people. And I've got to be honest with you, he might just be in the best place he's ever been in. So we've got two fighters. And I've been around Tyson a lot. Usyk a bit over the last 10, 12 years, maybe 10, 15 fights. I've never seen the two of them that calm, ever.
Matt, the tone from Tyson has changed. We remember that launch press conference in London. He sat across looking down the table at Oleksandr Usyk. He called him a sausage. He called him all sorts of things. This time, heading into this week, he's talking about how this will be the greatest opponent that he has faced. He's really given him his flowers. Why do you think this is happening?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think firstly, he knows that there's no point. It's a waste of energy. Usyk will just pretend he can't understand him. And if someone's not coming back at you, you're not getting a reaction. You're just wasting your own energy, aren't you? Also, I think there's truth in what he's saying. He's thinking, we're here now. You know what? The psychological warfare probably isn't going to work anyway. And actually, I'm going to give the guy his props. He's here. He's undefeated. He's a unified champion. Undisputed at the weight below. Now he's up. He's beat Anthony Joshua twice. He's got my respect. Also, and another thing, I think this has been a blessing for Fury going into this fight. The performance against Ngannou, I think, is the best thing. You know, say sometimes things are,
blessing in disguise.
Blessing in disguise. That's what that was. Yeah. Because, you know, there were distractions. There was the Netflix documentary, among lots of other things. And we're all human. You know what I mean? He probably got a bit distracted. He was underprepared. And he looked terrible against Ngannou, but he come away with a win. That will have kicked him right up the backside, and I guarantee you, I didn't see him in training, I wasn't there, but I can guarantee you he was the most on it Tyson Fury he's ever been for this fight.
And you know, you talked there about trying to get inside Usyk's head. I think he did try and get inside Usyk's head 2 years ago at Wembley, at Tottenham after the Derek Chisora fight, and a couple of other times. And at those press conferences, Dev, when he's looked down the table and called him a gap-tooth, midget, heavyweight, rabbit, and all of those other insults that he's used. And I think he did try and get inside his head because he's had success getting inside heavyweights' heads. He got inside and ruined Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko in Dusseldorf in 2015. I was there. I was this far away from them looking up. He absolutely ruined Vladimir Klitschko before they got in the ring and then did a job on him in the ring. With Usyk, Tyson's measuring it. I think he's looking, Matt, and he's thinking, he ain't biting. Yeah. So a month later, another meeting, he still ain't biting. So maybe on the plane coming over, he went, you know what?
There's no point.
There's no point. This guy's not buying it at all. And that's the impression I get, Dev, which is you can't get to Usyk through insults.
We've seen Deontay Wilder.
Quickly, let me just throw this one in. So, when George Groves fought Carl Froch the first time, Froch played that game, and he shouldn't have. He wasted too much energy. He lost. Michael Corleone said it, never hate your enemy, it'll affect your judgment. And Frutch
We're doing
hates
movie
it.
quotes already?
Come on, Matt.
It's not even a fight, we're doing movie quotes. That's just mad.
Day one of fight week here.
So anyway, he done Frutch, didn't it, in the first fight? He wasted too much energy on it. He hated Groves, and it affected him. He didn't give him the respect then. You know, second time round, he didn't even play that game. And I think Fury's realised, you know what? He ain't playing the game. Why am I going to waste all the energy trying to get something out of him that's not attainable?
Well, is that kind of mind games from Usyk? Because look, we've seen Deontay Wilder sat at a top table of a press conference with Tyson Fury wearing headphones so he couldn't hear what was coming in. Usyk sat there completely ignoring what Tyson's been saying to him. Is he sort of letting him expend his energy? Did he do that early in the build-up?
I just think Usyk, he laughs it off, he plays the joke. He's just, you can't break him psychologically because he doesn't take things too seriously. He's got a very, you know, in terms of ego, he ain't got that big of an ego as he's very humble. So you're not going to get, Fury's realised there's no point. I'm just wasting my own energy trying to rattle him psychologically. It ain't going to work. Let's just focus on the physical, the tactics, the actual boxing.
And what's interesting, Dev, you've touched on it there, you've half touched on it, has Usyk got to Fury without trying to get to Fury? So has he accidentally, by not biting at what Fury's doing to him, has that backfired and has he got to Fury? Because Usyk will not enter into mind games. He won't do childish things. He told me that in an interview where I made him cry last year. I asked him, I said, will you bring up the Ngannou fight where Fury was dropped? And he looked at me like I'd offered to buy his grandmother at a bad rate. He said, no, I'm a man. I have children. Why would I play those games? So I don't think Usyk does games. If accidentally, as a byproduct, he's got to Fury, then that's golden, because he hasn't meant it. I'm convinced he hasn't meant it.
But it's quite something, and Oleksandr Usyk is quite the fighter. Let me ask you this, Steve. If you were to build up the perfect style to give Tyson Fury problems, would you go for someone who's 6 inches shorter, who moves, is a southpaw, and a two-weight world champion? Would you go for someone like that?
I'd go for several of those ingredients, apart from the 6 inches shorter, obviously. I mean, that goes without reason. I don't mind being slightly shorter than Tyson Fury, because that means you probably kept your mobility and your flexibility. So the towering guys, they're as gangly and as awkward as him. But I'd go for someone certainly a little bit bigger. No, he wouldn't be my person, but the southpaw, the awkward, the shot placement, the timing. And one thing that maybe we'll talk about whilst we're together over the next two or 3 days and the hours that we're going to be doing is also something that we often forget with Usyk is his guts. He's a brave fighter. And I know he had those 2 fights with Anthony Joshua, and the record book will show he won them fairly comfortably. But I saw both of those from this far away, Dev. I'm talking this far. They were where the lights are. And he was hurt in those fights. He was bashed up in those fights. You've seen the cuts and the damage. Nose rearranged, jaw hurt, eyes hanging open. He's a brave fighter, Oleksandr Usyk. Don't worry about that. And that's something that maybe, wasn't in your list, was it? And it's not in most people's list. It's southpaw, Olympic champion, fighting for his people, all of those things. No one ever adds guts to him and heart. And I think that's an overlooked commodity.
Look, the first fight against Anthony Joshua at Tottenham, straight away from the first battle, he just jumped on Anthony Joshua and took the fight straight to him. He's game. Yeah. He's as game as they come. And I'll tell you another thing. Fitness. Yeah. He's super fit. To keep that movement up the way he does for 12 rounds, big guy, moving up in weight, fantastic conditioning.
I think there's almost like a kind of misunderstanding about how Usyk does box. There's a feeling that he floats around the ring, tries to keep away, and he's a dancer and a mover. As you said there, first round against AJ, he stuck it right on him.
Yeah. And I think he might have to do the same with Fury. Yeah. He's the one who has to close the distance. If he stays on the outside, Fury's going to think happy days and just jab his head off. Straight right hands, jab, long shot. He's the one who's got to get into mid-distance, get his shots up, and then get out again before Fury can grab a hold of him.
And he has been doing that for an awful long time, remember. So it's not the first time that Oleksandr Usyk's conceded inches and inches and inches and inches. It's not like he's had a career of it, because a lot of the cruiserweights are about the same height as him. But he's had 5 or 6 fights now where the men are taller than him. Maybe not as tall as Tyson Fury, but they are taller than him. And the other thing is, it's that pedigree. It's all those European campaigns, world amateur campaigns, Olympic campaigns, European and world youth campaigns, going back, 15, 16 years for Gould's sake. You're learning all the time, and that grade, and I think we might see a lot of that, and that might that may be part of it. But Matt's absolutely right. That first round's going to be beautiful. That first 30 seconds. Because I'm with you, Matt. He'll go at Fury. Not for 12 rounds, but he'll go at Fury in that opening minute. I'm convinced of it.
I think he has to. He has to try and get Fury's respect. He has to stamp his own authority in the fight, settle into it. He doesn't want to stand on the outside and let Fury settle in and get his jab and get his distance. He wants to come on and put it on Fury early doors and get his respect. Absolutely.
The problem we got now, Dev, you don't mind me saying so, it's only Tuesday. We've analysed the fight, I think, rather beautifully, and it would be really nice if we could all just walk away now and come back on Saturday, sit ringside and watch the fight. I know we've got commitments and we've got to earn a living, but I'm not sure we can do better. He's already dropped in Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah. He's already godfathering me. You've shown your biceps off. What more do you want from us?
They're coming.
For God's sake, we're not being paid enough to entertain like this.
Well, listen, let me ask you this. It's all about grand arrivals tonight, right? They're going to take a few pictures, they're going to wave, they're going to do a little interview up there. We've already had some, I don't know, shenanigans this week. Can we expect any tonight? What do you think, Steve?
No, nothing like that tonight. And in fact, we're waiting to hear the shenanigans you're referring to. It is obviously the incident with Gypsy Johnny Fury, Tyson Fury's father, who's back in camp, having been estranged for a while, and the incident that happened with a young member of Oleksandr Usyk's team. None of us are absolutely sure how that's been patched up. We understand there's been apologies from both sides and people have been shaking hands. I don't think we'll see anything like that tonight, but before now and the first bell, we'll see it. If not in the main event, in one or two of the undercards. The super featherweight title fight and the cruiserweight world title fight, Dev. I had those guys in the room. I'm sure you did yesterday as well. And there's a little bit going on. There's a little bit of tension. You can feel it in the air. So I'd be amazed if we get to the first bell on Saturday without a few more incidents. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I think we're fine. Maybe not tonight on the grand arrivals, but certainly press conference day, maybe even in the ring sessions at the open workouts.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like it's inevitable, Matt. There's so much, as we learned yesterday in that media room, there's so much testosterone in the air. When you've got one half of a room chanting Fury, 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 the other chanting Usyk, 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 neither side has tasted defeat. Something's going to happen, right?
Yeah, and it's you're a few days out from the biggest fight in the last 25 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's, tensions are boiling over, egos are all over the place, and they were very close together. Something was bound to happen.
Very close together,
yeah. They're lucky I didn't jump in, the biceps.
I appreciate that.
I was waiting for you to put it apart.
Oh, God, people are holding me back.
In fact, if you look at one film, I'm doing this. Okay, see you later, boys.
But let me ask you this. You mentioned it there. Big John Fury, he's in camp. My understanding is he's going to be in the corner. We'll probably have to verify that. But he's very much in the camp alongside Sugar Hill. What does that add, Steve?
Well, it adds to Tyson a motivator and a man that he looks up to. They haven't always seen eye to eye, Gypsy John and Tyson Fury. There have been lots of occasions when Gypsy John's been not removed, that's too strong a word, but has been not involved in the camp. He's been on the real periphery. And he's not on the periphery here, Devin. You've been around enough fights of Tyson Fury's recently where Gypsy John's coming in from the sidelines and got closer to the centre. My gut feeling is now he's much closer to the centre. And he does an awful lot of work when Sugar Hill Stewart isn't here. And Sugar Hill Stewart isn't here for an awful lot of the time. So a lot of those months, that's Gypsy John putting in the hours, working with his son. And there is great respect between the two of them. You can have great respect for a friend. You can have great respect for someone who's a family member and still not want to be around them all the time. It doesn't make you a bad person. And so, but on this, what I've seen in the build-up, and I was in that press conference in Morecambe a couple of months, 6 weeks ago, is I saw sort of a great-looking relationship between Gypsy John and Tyson. Maybe the best I've seen since they were boy and man, because they were boy and man not many years ago. So that's quite reassuring. So I think this is really going to be controversial. I think Gypsy John's been a good presence in camp. Yesterday, maybe not so, but in camp, yes, in my opinion.
Your thoughts on this one, Matt?
Yeah, look, father-son relationships can be complex in life, never mind throw boxing into it and training and everything else. And, you look at Floyd Mayweather and his dad, and you know what I mean? He's
slung him out of a house, didn't he, Floyd, at one point?
It's love, hate. It can be love, hate. It can be a fine line between love and hate sometimes, and father-son relationships can be complex. But when it's good, it's really good. And I think he will source strength from that relationship being good will make Tyson happy.
So look, Usyk's clearly now got Tyson Fury's respect as a heavyweight, what he's done against Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, Daniel Dubois. But tell me, did we learn anything new in his fight with Daniel Dubois?
No, I didn't learn anything new in the fight with Danny Dubois. He's a slick pro. He got hit with a shot that may have been low, may not have been low. He took the option that it was low. He was looking at the referee. If the referee had been counting, he would have jumped up at 5. That happened 6 feet in front of me. That was good gamesmanship. That was quality. That was class. People again might disagree with it, but that's the bottom line. I don't think we learned anything from that fight. I really don't.
Okay.
That's my gut feeling.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll come back to that. Let's head over to Thomas Triber.
Queensberry Promotions and Bob Arum for Top Rank Incorporated. In conjunction with Riyadh Season, National Event Center, the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Gold Star Promotions, K2 Promotions, and Sella. This great event will be shown worldwide on DAZN pay-per-view, in the United States on ESPN Plus pay-per-view, and in the UK on Sky Sports Box Office, TNT Sports Box Office, and DAZN. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to extend a big thank you to the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency, Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Turkey Al-Sheikh. Let's get things started. Our first 2 fighters competing this Saturday night in a scheduled 8-round international cruiserweight contest. Let's first welcome, fighting out of Frankfurt, Germany. He is undefeated with 12 wins, 10 of his 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Michael Seitz.
Well, here comes Michael Seitz. He'll be the first fighter that we size up tonight. Unbeaten cruiserweight takes on David Nyika on Saturday night, a battle of the unbeaten cruisers. And that's probably the most high-profile kind of ring walk he's had so far. This is all quite something. There's a lot of bright lights here. It's quite something, Steve.
Most of the fighters that come out here to Saudi, they have some firsts. Generally, it's the first time they've made whatever they're being paid, because it's generally good money. And it's certainly the first time they've been treated, most of them, like this. And not just this ring walk, but the whole build-up, the treatment they get, the quality of service. And as for this kind of thing, there's a lot of guys that they may never have it again. This might be their one-off time in the limelight.
Well, this is his first fight outside of Germany. What a stage to have it. If he's left Germany for the first time, Riyadh's a great place to come, Matt, huh?
Yeah, massive. It's all part of the learning experience. You know, you gain experience and you just get seasoned in the ring. But even you grow as a fighter with all this stuff as well.
Well, it's interesting because Matt's a good example of this.
You're the first
We'll just go back to
carpet, and you're the first to come out on this stage to open fight week here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels great. To be honest, I'm not used to something big like this. You know, I always fought on smaller events in Germany. You know, fighting on a big event like this in Saudi Arabia, one of the probably biggest events for over 20 years now. It's incredible.
And how are you feeling ahead of your fight? You've got a tough one on Saturday night.
Yeah, I feel good. We had a good training camp. I trust my team, you know. I trust myself. Like, we worked really hard. And yeah, I know a lot about my opponent. He had a good amateur career with the bronze medal in the Olympics.
Well, there is Michael Seitz. I think we've got a couple of audio issues, but yeah, look, what a stage this is. I love this place, you know. But I'll tell you what, though, it was raining last night, Steve. That completely caught me off guard. Were you in it?
Is it someone else? I came here today into this. I'm staying 5 miles away. Gorgeous last night, but I came here and someone said it rained last night. Just to quickly point out something, Matt touched on something there. Michael Seitz has come out today, and all of the kids that have never been in this big environment, it's crucial to them. Matt had something similar. He could go to massive Ricky Hatton fights to prepare him for what he went to later on. It's important.
Massively so, because, you know, fighters can be intimidated intimidated before they even get to the fight. You know, all of a sudden they're going from boxing in a small hall or leisure centres, and then they're in a massive event, and there's loads of media attention and media workouts, and they're like, they're like a rabbit in the headlights. They freeze a little bit, or they swallow it. Not because they were scared, intimidated by the box or the fight, but just the whole magnitude of the event.
Well, here comes David Enyika. Look at that. He's come in all the gear, and rightly so. Unbeaten cruiserweight. Big Joe Parker friend. He spent time in the Tyson Fury camp as well. Gained plenty of wisdom up in those camps. And Steve, you must have seen a bit of David Enyika.
Yeah, I've seen him in the Commonwealth Games, and I've seen him in one of his pros. I like him. And tell you what, I saw him in the hotel yesterday when I was doing some filming, and I was amazed how big he'd got there. He was a big light heavy, small cruiser. He's a big old boy. I'm not quite sure. Unless he's made it cruiserweight, but I'm not sure what weight at cruiserweight, because cruiserweight can be,
they go a bit over.
Yeah, exactly. So I look at him, and he's a big old boy. I like David Enyika. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised that we're talking about him now still as a novice, because I think I saw him for the first time about, good like 10 years ago or something.
Well, let's hear from the man himself, David Enyika, who's joined by Ali Drew.
First time fighting over here.
Yeah, it's an amazing place so far. Everyone has been super hospitable. It's a huge honour to be fighting as a part of the Riyadh season, and of course thank you to His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for having me here and giving me the opportunity to demonstrate my ability and my talents.
Now, Saturday night, you're on a 5-fight knockout streak. Can we expect more from that on Saturday?
I'd say so. That's the reason I come here. I come to impress. If I can't get Michael Seitz out of the ring before the 6th round, I'm doing something wrong. And this is an opportunity to assert myself as a cruiserweight contender.
Well, it's great to have you here. Best of luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Tell you what, David Enyika there has put a little bit of pressure on himself. He said if he doesn't get his man out of there within 6 rounds, then he's not the fighter he thought he was.
And there we were thinking we'd have a little easy walk to the ring, a bit of showmanship, a little bit of a chat, and go home comfortably to our donuts. No, he has put himself under pressure, and rightly so, because he's got a lot of talent. I don't know enough about where he's been and why he isn't better known and why he hasn't had more fights, but let him put himself under pressure. He's fighting an unbeaten fighter, and sometimes
our next 2 fighters
that's good.
Competing this Saturday in a scheduled 10-round contest. It will be for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Light Heavyweight Championship. First, coming to us from Porto, Portugal. His professional record, 9 wins, just 1 defeat. 4 of his 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Octavio Tank Pudiviter.
Well, here comes Octavio Pudiviter, another fighter who got that golden phone call, perhaps completely out of the blue, and is in the opposite corner on Saturday night to an Oleksandr Usyk promoted fighter in Daniel Lapin. He's 38 years old, his nickname is Tank, and if he's even a quarter as good as the other famous Tank currently running the kind of lightweight, super lightweight division, then I'm sure we're in for quite a show. But doesn't look out of place, Steve.
You know what? That's amazing, that. Because guys like this who are suddenly being exposed to this, they are coming out. And maybe that's just the mentality of modern boxers who have been watching these streams from the last 5 or 6 shows. Because you work with Frank Warren. You know how many phone calls he gets from fighters asking him if he can get him on a bill. Frank can put on a bill with 60 fighters every day of the week. The amount of people calling him up.
Well, let's hear from Octavio, who's joined by Ali Drew.
How special is it to be here on this platform during this fight week?
My English is bad, but I'm gonna try. It's very special for me, for my country. I have a good team, I have good coach, good promoter. It's a big fight, it's a big event. I'm very happy for visit Saudi Arabia. It's very beautiful, and it's a big fight for me, and I'm so happy for this.
What can the fans expect from you on Saturday night?
The fans, every time I'm work hard for do my best, Every time, every fight is same. I'm do my best. I'm give everything in the fight. this is the same.
Best of luck for Saturday night.
Thank you.
Well, we've just heard from Octavio Pudivita there. I think we've got a bit of chat here, so let's just talk about let's talk about Thomas Schreiber. I think Thomas has come back in.
He is undefeated with 9 wins. 3 of his 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Daniel Lapin.
Well, here is unbeaten Daniel Lapin, promoted by Usyk 17 Promotions, always in camp with Oleksandr Usyk. All those funky videos that you see Usyk putting out, normally this man is by his side doing the same kind of moves. Unbeaten in 9 fights, 6 wins by knockout, and he has boxed on plenty of Oleksandr Usyk undercards, most recently the Usyk Dubois undercard, and of course on the Usyk Joshua rematch as well. Talented fighter, and clearly back Team Usyk.
Yeah, a major part of the team. Everybody in that team, it's not just that they're part of the team, they're really part of the team, Dev. You get that impression. It's old school. They're really all together. They eat together.
It's almost like the international amateur team, isn't it?
You know what, Matt? That's exactly what it's like. It's got maybe it's the tracksuit. It's got that kind of spirit. Yeah, that's good.
Well, let's hear from him.
It looks like you're taking in every moment of this. How good does it feel to finally be here?
Еще раз. Я провел довольно очень тяжелый сбор, довольно долгий сбор, и поэтому я готов на все 100%.
I feel super good. I'm born to win, and I'm always ready to fight.
What are you expecting from the fight on Saturday night?
Я от этого боя ожидаю только победы. Не просто так же я готовился 6 месяцев на этот бой.
Yes, I will win, and my preparation was 6 months, and I think I will win.
Brilliant. Best of luck.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's no fight prediction quite like the I will win. Matt, have you ever made that prediction?
Oh, once or twice. I was usually a bit more colourful than that, though.
That's the worst one. So I'm hosting a few more pressers now, and sometimes I come to the fight and say, so how's this going to go? What's going to happen in there? I'm going to win.
Yeah.
You need a bit meat on the bone.
Yeah, you do. But in all fairness, if you're Ukrainian or Uzbek or Kazakh, saying "I will win" is good. If you, this is the way you say it. I will win.
I've got to say, I couldn't put much meat on the bone in Ukrainian.
Yeah. To be fair, look, there is that.
So he did okay, didn't he? In fairness,
he did okay.
I like him.
Yeah, look, you're saying that there's a link in the camp, isn't there? Serge Lapin.
Yeah, so it's his brother who's like known. Is his brother that was the first person to make Usyk's nose bleed in sparring when they were 11? There's some sort of story. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's the connection. So I think it's like it's an ancient friend, and then he's the younger brother. I thought it might have been his dad, but I think you're right. Then I think it's his younger brother. Yeah. This is definitely a story like that. He was the first person to make Usyk's nose bleed. That's when they were 10 in some academy in the hills. Maybe 9 hills.
Yeah. Well, there's certainly a story there. I encourage viewers to find out all the full...
Text it into us.
Yeah, text it in. Just let us know. Let us know what the full story is. I think we have hopefully got a bit of time, but I'm sure Thomas will come in and tell us otherwise. But listen, let's talk about this size difference. That's what's people are talking about that. It could be 50 pounds. I heard Oleksandr Usyk say, well, look, if it was all about size, the elephant would be the king of the animal kingdom. We know the elephant isn't. Are people reading too much into the size difference?
I think so, and in fact, a couple of people I've spoken to, wise old heads this week, have had to remind me, Steve, stop calling Usyk small. Stop calling Usyk small. He's not small. Yeah, okay, small against Tyson Fury, but then so is just about every single other person we can see if we look around here now. You know, he's still a big old boy. He's a big 6'3". You know what I mean by that, Matt? He's a big 6'3", and he's a solid, big, full not old school heavyweight, because he's an inch taller and about 1.5 stone heavier than old school heavyweights. Let's not forget that.
Different era.
For instance, his dimensions are taller and bigger than George Foreman. Big George, when he started, not when he finished, of course. He was a house then.
Sure.
But so the size, the height, and the length of Fury's jab. That factors. The weight, I'm not quite sure the weight will be a factor. I'm not quite sure, because I don't think if they get close, when they get close, Usyk's not going to fight him with the weight. He's going to move with the weight like a wrestler would, like a judo player would. You're not going to battle against the force. You use the force. So if Tyson thinks he's just going to lean down on him and Usyk's somehow going to push up, sorely mistaken.
Usyk's smallness might even be awkward for Tyson Fury. You know, he's got to punch down, he can count over the top. Okay, that might be hard because he's not really that type of guy. But, you know, he's long, isn't he, Fury? Usyk's going to try and come inside him, I believe, get his shots off, and then get on his bike again. And in and out, in and out. You know, when you're a big guy, is he going to be physical? It's going to be like a clinch skin? Not if Usyk can help it. I think Fury might have to try and grab him, pull him down, spoil him at times. But really, I think Usyk wants the fight at mid-distance, doesn't he? In and out, and Fury wants it long, or he wants to pull him down. But that battle's going to be the fun part.
Yeah. I tell you what's going to be interesting at the rules meeting, which is something that we never cover on TV, and we generally skip over because we've done our week, we've done the weigh-in, and then we got the fight, and we all go home or we go somewhere. Then there's a thing called a rules meeting. All the fighters get together, especially in the main event. The referees there, the judges are there, the officials from the different sanctioning bodies are there, and that's where one side can talk about, I don't like it because, you know, can make sure the referee tells him not to lean on, make sure the referee tells him not to do something. Well, Frank Warren told me that unusually he's going to go to the rules meeting, and that's because he wants to make sure that he gets his stuff across. And that will be, let my man work. Let my man work.
First, a native of Afghanistan, now fighting out of Dubai. His professional record, 16 wins, just 1 defeat, with 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Hasibullah Ahmadi.
Well, Hasibullah Ahmadi is the potential banana skin for Tyson Fury's longtime friend Isaac Lowe on Saturday. Former WBC Asian featherweight champion. In fact, he's the first WBC Asian champion from Afghanistan. Based in Dubai now, and has found himself in Riyadh against Isaac Lowe, the Westgate Warrior. I mean, this isn't a bad fight. It's actually, it looks like it could be a banana skin for Isaac Lowe, Matt.
Yeah, possibly. You know, possibly. Like I think everyone fighting on this card because of the magnitude of the event and the stage they're on, they're going to be performing to the best. And you know, there could be some upsets on the card.
I think everybody on this bill, unless you're a free bout novice, knows that a good showing here, A, gets you back, and getting you back gets you close to something. And by close to something, I mean life-changing fight for life-changing money. I mean, and let's not mince around. Anybody who does well at any weight here has got every chance to be back in October or November or December in a fight that matters, a fight that counts. So, and that's what they're fighting for, really. Of course, he wants to beat Isaac Lowe, who he's fighting, but he knows if he beats Isaac Lowe in style, who knows where it leads?
Yeah.
Dev, I mean, let's be brutally honest. This is a conveyor belt to dreams here, my son. A conveyor belt to dreams.
What a line that is. It has become the land of opportunity. Let's head over to Thomas Treiber.
His professional record consists of 24 wins, 2 defeats, 3 draws, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Isaac Westgate Warrior Lowe.
Well, enter the Westgate Warrior. Into Riyadh, featherweight contender Isaac Lowe, a long-time friend of Tyson Fury. I'm a big fan of the tune that he's chosen here. Bit of Whitney Houston to bring out Isaac Lowe. How about it, Steve?
Well, you know, if there's anyone, it would be between Tyson Fury and Isaac Lowe would come out to a bit of Whitney, if you don't mind me saying so. So I quite like it. I'm not shocked. I quite like it. And why not?
Should have come out to the greatest love of all. That's the Whitney one, isn't it? That's the one.
Oh.
I mean,
that's the number one.
In all fairness, I think we need a bit more Whitney on fight night, you don't mind me saying so.
Hey, listen, we may see the greatest glove of all on Saturday night, Fury versus Usyk. I'm sure we're going to hear from Isaac Lowe very, very shortly. He's always got a line, a barb or two for the cameras. I think Ali Drew will be joining him very, very shortly.
Isaac, let's week is upon us. How are you feeling?
Feeling fantastic. Look at this for an occasion. How could you not be enjoying this in Saudi Arabia with my sunglasses on? Can't wait to Saturday night to put a show on for everyone.
What does it mean to you, being on the undercard, obviously, of your friend Tyson Fury? You know, you're part of the Fury camp. Just what does it mean to you?
Yeah, it means a big thing, but I can't think about Tyson. I've got to think about myself. It's my own career, and I need to get my own career back on track. So Saturday night, I've got to go here. I've got a tough opponent. I've got to go and make a statement and think about myself. And after I do the job, then it's down to the big man.
What can the fans look forward to?
What you get from Isaac Lowe, hands up, coming forward, aggressive fighter. I'm going to give all you fans a treat for the money. So be in there, be in early, get your popcorn ready, get your pot ready, and I'm going to put a hell of a show on for you.
Brilliant. Best of luck.
I'll tell you what, I knew there'd be a good line from Isaac Lowe. He can chat a bit, Steve.
He can fight a bit as well. Let's not mess up. He's fallen short on a couple of hurdles against good fighters, as he always gives his all. And when he's talking about, you know what I do, I was tapping my heart, because that's what he shows. He's got heart. And he must know, even more than anybody else on this bill, that a win here, with the power of his close friend Tyson, and they are close friends, he can find himself in a world title defence. He could be rematching Nicky Bull in 6, 7, 8 months if Bull were to beat Ford. Why rule it out? Well, anything could happen.
Yeah, it's a fight that he definitely wants, and that was, of course, on a Tyson Fury undercard. He's boxed around the world with Tyson Fury.
Yeah. And what was he been? He was Staples Centre for the first Wilder. I think he was on the second or the third of both of them. He's been out here. He's been everywhere. Tyson. Listen, he knew Tyson when Tyson was in that black, deep hole. Don't worry about that, Dev. And he was by his side then.
This Saturday night in a 10-round contest, it will be for the vacant WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Let's first welcome from Hamburg, Germany. His professional record, 25 wins, 3 defeats, with 20 of his 25 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Ilya Mazenchev.
Well, this is the first fight outside of Germany for Ilya Mazenchev, and it's quite the task he has in front of him. The German born in Kazakhstan will be facing the young man seen by many as the future of the heavyweight division in Moses Itauma. I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to be fighting Moses Itauma, Matt.
No, big prospect. Everyone raving about this kid. And when you see him box, you understand why. He's young, very young. He's only a baby, really, in heavyweight terms. But by all accounts, and from the bits I have seen, this kid could be something special.
And he's maturing drastically. So the Moses from a year ago barely resembles physically and emotionally the Moses now. He's becoming a man. It's really, really sudden. He was like a boy child for a while, Matt, and then suddenly in the last 7, 8 months he's changed drastically.
Well, let's hear.
Yeah. How does it feel? Fight week is underway.
Yeah, I'm really happy to perform on Saturday, to win the fight. Everything is fine.
What are you expecting from Moses Itauma on Saturday night?
A good fight. He's prepared, he's young, I'm prepared. We will show a good boxing match.
Is this going to be the biggest night of your career so far?
Yeah. It's the biggest stage so far.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go. That is the man tasked with derailing Moses Itauma on Saturday. Can he do it, Steve?
Heavyweights can obviously lose. I don't think so, because I don't think Moses is at that point where he can make mistakes. We've seen him have to work. He's run out of ideas a couple of times, and he admits that. He's a work in progress, remember. And I don't think this guy, I don't think Ilya's going to beat him. And I think it's more a case of how good Moses looks beating him, which might sound cynical, but we're in a cynical business sometimes. Let's not forget that.
Well, it'll be the first title fight in the career of Moses Itauma. Do you remember your first title, Matt? You must remember that.
Yeah, of course. Like we said about this whole stage and everything, this is all part of his development. This is all part of his growth as a fighter.
He is undefeated with 8 wins. 6 of his 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Moses Itauma.
Well, this is a name you could be hearing a lot more of for the next 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. 19-year-old amateur sensation Moses Italma, now 8-0 as a pro, accompanied there by manager Francis Warren. This is a young man with the world at his feet.
And he knows it. I think about for the first few fights, the first 5 or 6 months, he was in a bit of a blur. He's talking and sounding, as I said, like a mature man. Still a lot of pressure on him, Matt, because he is a baby. Let's get it right.
Yeah, still a baby, very much a baby. And this is a massive occasion. You know, Tyson Fury, all these people, Saudi Arabia, you know, grand arrivals, media workouts, doing all the streets. But you know, if this kid is going to go as far as we think he's going to, then the earlier and the sooner you get used to this stuff, the easier it becomes as you get further down the line.
And just quickly, doesn't he look like a star? He's the first one that's come out that looks like a star.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, all this talk about him being a baby, he doesn't look like a baby to me. He looks like an absolute unit, Moses Italma. I think you're bang on about him looking like a star. Let's hear from him.
You've experienced the rehab experience before. How does it feel to be back?
No, it's definitely a blessing to be back in here. Obviously, I was here for the Tyson fight, and I'm back here. And what more can I ask? It's a spectacular event. Appreciate it to my promoter, Frank Warren, and obviously His Excellency Turkey Sheikh. And yeah, I can't wait for Saturday night.
Now, quite a knockout spree that you're on. 4 first-round knockouts in a row. Are you going to do more of the same on Saturday night?
Well, obviously, I like to keep the streak going. But I just want to go in there and have fun, if I'll be honest.
How much does it mean to you being on a huge card like this?
It means a lot. That's all I dreamed of being a kid.
Well, we are expecting big things. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, that is Moses Italma, first title fight for the amateur sensation on Saturday night. And listen, we've talked about him there. You said, Steve, that he is the first one so far that looks like a real star.
Yeah, and just something about the way he looked and he came out. It's just that degree of confidence, head up, looking around. It's just tiny things, you know. You don't have to have a gold crown and £500 rare Nikes to look like a star. Let's get that right. It's just your presence, and there was just something about the way he came down that ramp.
The presence, an X factor, an aura, you know. And some people have got it, some people haven't.
Yeah.
He's got it.
He's got it, yeah.
And listen, he's clearly rated by Tyson Fury. The fact that Tyson Fury brought him into camp for the biggest fight of his life is a real endorsement of his talents, Matt.
So say again then.
The fact that Tyson Fury brought him into camp, a true endorsement of his talents.
Yeah, big time. You know, Tyson wants to be tipped up, but Tyson seems like, to me, he's a good guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He hasn't forgotten what it was like for him coming through, and he wants to give the younger guys a leg up.
A few quid and a bit of experience.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely that. And I'll tell you, you talk about experience, you talk about advice that he's getting. He got all of that from Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua is now, they're all trained by Ben Davison, so he's getting experience from Tyson, experience from AJ. This has all the makings of a future heavyweight king.
And also, it's not just don't think he's getting all his experience as he's doing 10 hard rounds. Almost forget the sparring. It's the rest of
conversations.
it. It's just being there. Tyson talks about that time with Vladimir Klitschko in camp. He never sparred around, but every day he learned. He was learning, as was AJ in those camps. And that's crucial.
Steve said it about me with Ricky Hatton, being around him in Vegas, those big fights, watching how he prepares. You're like a sponge absorbing it all.
Yeah, I think he's got that about him. He's clearly very, very teachable as well, Moses Italma. And he's got that kind of stoic demeanour. Nothing seems to faze him.
I don't think it does, Dev. I don't think it's an act. I don't think any of what Moses does is an act. I think he is what he is. He is exactly what he is. He doesn't. There's no act. There's no side. That's him. It is boxing. His first fight without a head guard was his first fight as a pro. Yeah, because it was classified still as a junior at 18 because they moved the ages around. So he went from head guard like balloon gloves into small gloves, no head guards overnight. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
And do you know when his first loss was? He hasn't had one. Amateur or pro. You don't get that every day.
Very rare. Very, very rare.
Here he comes now, anyway.
This Saturday in a scheduled 12-round contest. It will be for the vacant WBC Silver Lightweight.
This is Italma himself, who we have just showered in praise. Moses, how are you, sir? Loving the look, loving the vibe. Talk us through this, mate.
You know what? It's ain't even mine, it's my brother's.
Yeah.
I didn't really pack no clothes. And he was like, oh, I've got a few bits for you, so, you know, I've got to look good.
That's a lightweight though, son.
Looks good. Especially for this weather.
Let's bring in Frank Warren here as well. Moses was just on the stage, and Steve Bunt said he's the first one so far that's gone up there that looks like a star.
Oh.
Look at him.
Wow.
It's $1 million.
In all fairness, a safari suit mentioned, please, Dad. You don't mind me saying so. That is blinding, that, son.
Well, when in Saudi.
When in Saudi.
Frank, special talent here, special opportunity for Moses to shine on a big, big stage.
Well, he's fought here before, and he made a big impression, and I'm sure he's going to do that again on Saturday. Now he's the one they're all looking at to be the next guy, and. You know, the main event on Saturday, both the guys are well in their 30s now. I don't know how long they're going to be there. But in the meantime, he's got to keep doing what he's doing, which is learning, keep getting in fights that he can get experience from, and when the time's right, he'll fight for the title.
There's very few heavyweights, Frank, under the age of about 26, let alone anywhere near his age.
There's none in the top 10.
Exactly, they're all like, they're 29, 30, up to 40. But 38s and 37s is standard.
So there you go. So you got, you know, Moses, you got Daniel. There's quite a few. There are some youngsters there. There's some, you know, quite a few Brits as well. So some great fights to be made down the road. But it's all about learning your trade. Still a teenager. We've been 19 4 months ago, so he's got a way to go yet.
Man boy, I called you that earlier.
Man boy.
Boy,
Man.
Moses, let me ask you this. Does any of this faze you? I mean, you boxed on the Battle of the Baddest undercard. You're boxing on this one, perhaps the biggest show of all time, some are calling it. Any of it faze you?
No, not really, because I feel like when I do kind of look at it from like, wow, I'm on this big stage, maybe that could be my last time I am on the big stage. So I kind of have to push it to the back of the room and then do my job, and then after be like, yeah, I've done something big.
That's a good attitude to have. That's a great attitude to have. That, but you do seem made for it, Mose. I mean, even when when your interviews are only okay, now their interviews are really good. There's still that star quality, bro. They're not. No, listen, the last one was cracking. I couldn't believe. No, like, quite seriously.
I'm trying my best.
It's just like you. It's just like you're loving every second of it without, you know, you're not being flashing.
Growing into it. And that's what's happened. You know, it's his trade. That's what he does. It's his profession. And he's embracing it and doing what he has to do. He knows it's not just about the fighting, which is the most important thing. It's about everything that goes with it. And he's a sensible guy. And he's got a good team around him. A good manager, his brother in there. You know, so it's a really, really good team. And between them all, they're doing a fabulous job. But the man who's getting in the ring is all about. He's doing an excellent job. He's doing a brilliant job there.
Thank you very much. My head's getting big already.
Moses' first title fight on Saturday night.
Yep.
What does this mean? I reckon you'll end up winning probably about 40, 50 belts in your career anyway, but the first one.
By the time he's 21.
Hopefully, it's the first of many. And just want to be on big cards like this, be on big stages, and win titles for my country, for my family, and just for everyone. You know what I mean? Maybe I can put on a show that people can enjoy and say, wow, I watched him for his career. And that's what I just want to do, give the fans the best fights.
Do you get that sense? Do you fancy that 60,000, 70,000, 80,000?
100%.
Do you really feel that that's what that you'd like it, you'd love it, and you deserve it?
100% one day.
Frank, this
big fight mentality. Big fight mentality, son.
Look, there's some great fights there. I've got to be honest with you, if it weren't for the fact that he's not fought, I don't mean gone 10 rounds, but he's not fought or trained for a 10-round fight yet. If he'd have had a couple of them, me personally, we'll have to discuss it, obviously, with Francis and Moses and the team and that, I would have no problem fighting for the British title now. I'm telling you, I would not have that's our conflict. But I want to see him train and be in training for a 10-round fight, know what he's got to do. Because, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. At the end of the day, somebody, you're going to clip them and they're not going to go. That's boxing.
That's the reality.
That's every fighter who's ever been. So it will happen. So he's preparing. He knows what he's got to do. He's a consummate professional. He's got new training camp, new trainer now with Ben Davison. So he's very enthused about him. So it's all gelling. Everything's coming together, and we've got to keep him busy. He's got to keep winning, obviously. Keep him busy, and you know,
his ambition might come off. He might, you know, who knows in the next year. See where he's at.
Next year, easy. We've got about 38 in front of him at the moment. 3 years. Come on.
Listen, the way he's performing and the reports you get back from the sparring and the people he's sparring with is excellent. I mean, everybody he works with all come back and they speak volumes. They give volumes of praise for what he does. But the real thing's obviously in the ring. That's where he's got to do it, and I'm quite sure he will do it.
Let me ask you this, Moses. You've been in Camp Fury. He brought you in for sparring. So you've had all of that advice, that kind of experience. You've now got Anthony Joshua. You've been trained by the same trainer as well. These have all the makings of a kind of future heavyweight king here. Are you kind of appreciating that you're getting all of this kind of knowledge?
You've said it all there. Like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in the position I am. There's a lot of fighters around this world that don't get the opportunity I've got, so I'm definitely grabbing it with both hands and I'm trying my best to make the most of it.
Good man. Frank, let me just get your thoughts on Mark Chamberlain on the stage now as well. It's not an easy fight for him on Saturday night.
No, he's got a tough fight, but you know what? He took his chance, you know, the opportunity he got last time out over here. He embraced it and with both hands, literally with both hands, went out there and done a job. And that's why His Excellency asked him to come back and brought him back, and we brought him back here because there's a lot expected of him. There's some great fights out there for him. There's a great domestic bust-up that I believe can be maybe a final eliminator or maybe for a world title if Sam Noakes or him wins the title first. So there's a lot of things happening in that division, a very sexy division. And Mark's has been looking brilliant, no doubt about it.
You know, we talk in boxing about fairy tales, Frank, and you've seen a few, I've seen a few, Dev's seen a few, Matt's seen a few, but the whole Mark Chamberlain thing is kind of a modern fairy tale. The whole story about him being in a car when you call him up and say, look, you're fighting in Riyadh. He says, Frank, I can't talk now, I'm going to work. You know, he's a plasterer a year ago. I mean, who's writing these scripts? I mean, quite seriously, he's now a favourite of Turki Al-Sheikh. How does it work?
Somebody should have been asking me who was writing the script last August when this all happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'll tell you, for the life of me, I never thought. But this is going from strength to strength. The commitment from His Excellency, from the Riyadh season, making all this happen. And it's happening worldwide now. You know, they've got a big show on the 3rd of August in LA, one in Wembley on the 21st of September. Some fabulous nights of boxing, special shows that we couldn't put together. What we might put together, we couldn't do it without the involvement of the Riyadh season, His Excellency and Seller and the rest of the team.
Frank, by the beginning of June, there would have been 5 major boxing events in Riyadh. Are we entering a golden era in boxing?
We're not entering, we are in it.
Thick in the middle.
It is a golden era, but it's getting better and better each time. There's some great fights still to be made. I mean, this fight on Saturday is the biggest fight of the 21st century. The biggest fight any British fighter's ever been involved in, ever. 4 belts on the line, heavyweights, it's never happened before. Probably the richest fight that any Brit's ever been involved with, or probably one of the richest fights in the world ever. This is something extra special. And if Tyson, what I believe he can do, pull it off, you know, that nothing can ever eradicate that. That's in the history books. First one this century, first person to ever unify the 4 belts.
Well, let's speak to young Mark Chamberlain, a real favourite around these parts, Mr. Mark Chamberlain. How are you?
Yeah, all good. On top of the world to be back here. Only feels like we was here a week ago. Massive thanks to this man right here for delivering these opportunities for me, and obviously His Excellency for wanting me back so soon.
I mean, Steve Bunce was saying this is fairy tale stuff for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, being part of 2 of the biggest cards in the world, I think, one being Anthony Joshua and 2 being Tyson Fury, you don't get bigger or better than this, that's for sure.
But also, Mark, and don't take this the wrong way, you're not being thrown in easy fights. The last Gavin Gwynn was a really hard fight. You know, he just relinquished the British title. This is a hard fight on Saturday, so that's the other thing.
He's a world-class fighter.
No, which is great.
You're only going to get better and better by doing what he's doing. And it's not like he's out of his depth. I mean, the last fight was a masterclass. Yeah. He looked sensational. So we're right about what we feel and what we feel is going to happen. It's a big opportunity for Mark is grasping it, he's moving forward, he knows what he's got to do, and if he keeps doing what he's going to do, like I keep saying, is that, with my son Francis, we're going to have a big rivalry, aren't we, this week? He manages Sam Noakes, and I look after Mark. We're going to have could be an interesting scenario.
Could we have 5v5 inside the Warren house? How about that?
We could, yeah.
Couldn't we?
Who's
your heavyweight pick?
I'll get beat up. Me.
I'll tell you what, that'll be some press conference. Sam Noakes one side with Francis Warren, yourself one side with Mark Chamberlain.
But it's something we're building. It's no rush to do it.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is because these guys are doing so well, because they're such good fighters, world-class fighters. I mean, absolutely world-class fighters. We're blessed.
Yeah.
That down the road is going to be something really, really special. And if Mark's got to do what he keeps doing, and I'm sure he'll do it on Saturday. And provided he comes through, it's on to the next one. We just keep getting better and better fights for him.
But I'll tell you what, Mark, it's not a knockover job. I'm sure you've done your research. This guy has only lost to Liam Dillon. Hard man is Liam Dillon. That was a close fight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've heard there's a bit of a story to that fight. Things got changed along the way. But yeah, we know we're in for another hard fight. I train for every fight as a world title fight. I never overlook anyone. So same again as what I said 8 weeks ago. I'm ready for whatever they're going to throw at me. So
always in shape as well. You're not one of these fighters that kind of blows up outside the camp. You're just always in.
I've had no choice. I've been in camp for about 17 weeks now. Frank rang me 3 days before I went on holiday. The holiday went out the window.
Listen, you've got to make hay while the sun shines, and the sun's shining here.
Yeah, all the time.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, the sun is shining all the time. In an ideal world, Frank was talking there about the Sam Noakes fight. That's one of those domestic fights that I've been over the last 35 years I've loved. That's a great fight, and I don't care where it takes place. That's just a great fight.
Yeah, I mean, when and if it happens, it is a big fight, but I've got a job to do first. He's on his path, I'm on my path. When that time arises, I'm sure Frank and Francis will agree that they're going to have to dig deep in their pockets.
There's no need for that, Mark. We're having a nice day.
There you go. There we go. There is already. Mark, brilliant. Great chat. Can't wait for your fight. We'll see you tomorrow at the workouts. And just drop me a mic over there. Give me a fist bump on the way out, my friend. Thank you, Mark Chamberlain. Thank you.
See you, Mark. Top boy, son. Thank you.
Frank, we're going to keep you if we just shuffle around a little bit. Let's bring Matt Macklin back in as well. Matt, look, Mark Chamberlain, let's just chat about him a little bit. Special fighter, right?
Well, it was really impressive last time. Gavin Gwynn, that was meant to be a hard fight. I know he caught him early, the eye went up, but even that side, he just put on a brilliant performance. Even then, he could have over-rushed himself. He could have got top, smothered his work. He didn't do that. He stayed calm. He came everything behind the jab. He put combinations together. And it was a 10 out of 10 performance, really.
Well, the man that we're looking at on screen currently is Ajit Kabayal, and he really put on a 10 out of 10 performance last time. I mean, he's 24-0. He beat the monster, Steve.
He's done a job. He's done it in style as well.
And you know that fight, when I was watching him against Arslan Makhmudov in that fight, you could see it from ringside. You could see it happening because Arslan was just sneering at him, pushing him around in that first round. And you saw Kabayal. You spoke to Kabayal. He's a funny man.
Right.
And he just started to build into it. He was loving it.
Is that how you feeling? Yeah, I feel very good. I'm ready for Saturday night.
Well, also, this is a WBC final eliminator as well against Frank Sanchez, 24-0 versus 24-0. Probably a fight that's gone under the radar a little bit.
Yeah,
but
2 24-0 fighters fighting each other.
WBC eliminator.
Yeah, an eliminator. That is something special. No doubt about that. World-class fighters. Number 1 and 2 in respective divisions.
And I tell you what, let's be brutally honest. These are two heavyweights that have been thrown in to lose a couple of times. Frank Sanchez on the undercard of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3. He was thrown in against the Nigerian-American Efe Ajagba, who's knocking everybody out. Frank Sanchez gave him a boxing lesson on the night. And Arslan Makhmudov, he was meant to walk through Ajit Kabayal. So these two aren't even meant to be in Saudi.
He's done a job.
Exactly, done a job. So those two guys who have done a job on unbeaten fighters are now fighting each other in an unbeaten fight. I tell you what, there was a time in the 80s or 90s when this would have been the top of the bill somewhere, and we'd have been built up. This is the sort of fight you would have gone to.
No doubt about it.
But you also talk about this being it's not just a platform of opportunity. You win here and look good, the chances are you're gonna come back here and you'll open up more doors. You need a bit of luck to get your opportunity. When you get the opportunity, it's up to you then to produce the goods.
Yeah, there is that feeling of kind of like almost like a round robin kind of feel about it.
A league.
You do well, yeah, almost like a league. You do well, you're going to get the invite back. Frank Sanchez, Ajit Caballal, they will be mandatory for the WBC World Heavyweight title. They'll certainly get an invite back.
But you see that with Joe Parker, you've seen that with Yang, with Wilder. That's what's happening. And they're not just being, all right, see you got beat. They're getting involved in other fights, which are in some ways are even more meaningful and more important fights because they're both coming up with losses.
The Cuban Flash Sanchez!
Well, let's have a look at Frank Sanchez, the man they call the Cuban Flash, widely regarded really as one of the best heavyweights in the world today, Matt. I mean, he's got something about him. There's an aura.
Yeah, definitely, and he's got that self-belief and confidence of an undefeated young fighter. Like you say, but he's boxing somebody else who's 24-0, who's got the same undefeated confidence. So, someone's O has to go, as they say.
Well, it's all building up to Saturday night. I mean, it's fight of the century, really, Frank. I mean, we're counting down the days now. We've been waiting 25 years for an undisputed heavyweight champion. We're finally going to get one. I mean, we're here.
We're certainly here. That's what everybody wants, and it's happening. And I'll tell you something. You look at Tyson, who looks in such great condition. I mean, he's like jumping out of his skin. I've never seen him look so way, like he's glowing. And then I look at Usyk, and he's the same.
Yeah.
These guys, back to Spindulate, they've been in back-to-back training camps. They're so fit and well. So fit and well. They've got both of them got self-belief. So we're going to see, I really do feel, something extra special on the night.
When you saw, you sat with, I spoke to you yesterday, and then you hadn't seen Tyson Fury at that stage. You saw Tyson a bit later on, and I'm like you. When I first saw him, he's glowing, and you sit down with him, and he's. It's just it's not confidence. It's something above confidence. It's a different. I don't know if I've ever seen him that way, Frank.
It comes alive fight week. The week of a fight, he's done all the hard work now, and you can see him. He loves what's going on fight week. He enjoys that, and all he's doing is ticking those days off, and he wants to get in the ring. The same as Usyk. They're both fighting men. They're both undefeated, and they're doing something we haven't seen for a long, long time in a unification fight. They're coming in, or a fight of this magnitude. They're coming in as undefeated, in their prime, at their best. Normally, as I was saying, the other day to you,
no passing the baton.
No passing the baton on. The new guy on the block fighting the old guy on the way out. These guys are at their best, and that means you're going to get a real fight.
And what we're hearing from Tyson this week, and actually at the Morecambe press conference as well, he's just started to give Oleksandr Usyk his flowers. He's talking about how Oleksandr Usyk is the greatest opponent that he's ever faced. Now remember, if we go back a few months, he was calling him a sausage and all sorts. What do you think has led to this kind of turn in?
Because there are a lot of people fancy Usyk to win. A lot of, the trade magazine makes him the #1 heavyweight in the world. Which is great, because if Tyson does what I believe he'll do, nobody can say any different. You've beaten the guy that you all said. So Tyson, it's right what he's saying. And he is a good fighter. Let's get it right. Olympian, the best in the Olympics at his weight, the best cruiserweight of this century, probably. Average of that particular era, done everything, unified all the belts, and he's been a heavyweight for 4.5 years now. He's used to fighting big guys. You look at, you think, you say a big good and always beats a good little one, and I know that adage, but what he did with AJ, he beat AJ to the jab. I expected him, a smaller guy, to roll underneath, get inside. He was out jabbing him on the outside.
The first fight at Tottenham Hotspur, as soon as the bell rang, he was straight out into the middle of the ring and stuck it on AJ.
Correct.
And he might do the same against Fury. In fact, I think he will do. He's not going to stand the outside against Tyson. Now, he's going to have to try and get in and be clever on his way in. But I think he'll be quite aggressive, Usyk.
Then we got a fight. Then we got a real fight.
For me, this fight, this first round is obviously it's going to be an important round, but that's going to, for me, who is going to control it? This is the battle of the jabs. The jab will be the weapon that wins this fight. Everything that come off it. Who's ever got the best jab? And what I like about Tyson, here jab, he can switch it as we know, but here jab with you. And if he gets beaten to the jab, he still carries on. He's not one of those guys who loses heart and stops throwing his jab. which I've seen people do. Here, jab with him. So I think come the night, come that first round, that centre of the ring is going to be the place that the guy's got. One of them's got to dominate. They've got to dominate it, and for Tyson, is to keep Usyk on his back foot. And to do that, you've got to push him backwards.
Fireworks expected on Saturday night. Frank, thank you so much. We're going to speak to you so much more this week. Let's not ask all the questions now. Frank, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much.
See you, Frank. Top boy.
That is Frank Warren, Hall of Fame boxing promoter, and a man who's really championed Tyson Fury's rise, really, his comeback.
Well, I'm not quite, you know, when you're in a pit where Tyson was in 2016 when he was the world champion and he was meant to fight Vladimir, 2 fights, fell out of bed. Then 2017 when we nearly lost him, and I mean we nearly lost him to earth, not to boxing. So there's Frank backing and there's backing, and what Frank did was go down, descend into that hell, Dev, and pull him up and bring him back. That's going some. That's not, I've got you a fight, son. That's going and salvaging and saving a man's life. Let's get that right. And that sounds dramatic, I don't care. Matt's already thrown in Michael Corleone quotes, okay? I'm allowed to be a bit dramatic as well.
Frank showed that belief, didn't he, Matt? I mean, he took a gamble at that point. Tyson Fury was probably about 25, 30 stone at that point. Frank saw something, took the gamble, and look at the rewards. Look around you.
Look, Frank isn't just a promoter. Frank's managed a lot of careers as well. You know, and I know there's been times, I remember years ago when there was pressure on Frank about with Ricky Hatton, when's he going to get this Costa 2? When, you know, he's like, oh, let me do it the way I do it. And you know, when you look back at that, he managed him. It was the perfect pace. You know, by the time he fought Costa Sioux, he was super experienced. He was as seasoned as he possibly could be. You know, so. You know, television people always put the, you know, broadcasters, they put the pressure. They want the big fights now. But as a boxing manager, you've got to know your fighter. You've got to know, and you know, he might be good enough, but he might not be in a place in his life at the time to be there. He needs to come back. He needs to get his confidence back. And Frank knew that Tyson needed momentum. He needed activity. He needed to get a few wins under his belt.
And he certainly gave him then. The man that we're currently looking at on the screen is the man who actually probably gave Oleksandr Usyk his hardest fight, Marius Bradis, in action on Saturday. And he certainly did that. I'm hoping that we're actually going to go over and hear from Marius Bradis. I think he's got something to say.
In my life, that's why I hope all the boxing fans enjoy this fight. Of course, we do best, and we show very big drama.
How are you feeling now we've reached fight week on such a big occasion?
Very exciting, very exciting. I like warm, hot countries.
What is your prediction for how the fight ends on Saturday night?
I think who will be stronger, like always.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Marius Bradis. I tell you, that's a proper fight on Saturday night. We talked about how he actually gave Usyk his hardest fight. Rematch with Opataya, that's a cracker.
Yeah, July 22, whatever it was, savage fight, a brutal fight. One of those fights that, I hate to say it, I wish it would have been 15 rounds. It had that kind of feel to it. And he did push Usyk all of the way in front of his hometown fans, if I'm not mistaken. I think it took place in Riga, if I'm not mistaken.
Semi-final,
yeah, exactly. That mad tournament. So it's fantastic. No, it is good, but I was with Bradis yesterday, and, you know, we're here to push these fights, and we're pushing them. But I wasn't 100% convinced about Bradis yesterday, Dev. There was just something a little bit missing in his eyes, just turned away a bit quick. You know, he talked about how hard the camp had been and making the weight. Now maybe he was sowing a few seeds for me to have this doubt, but I wasn't sold on Bradis yesterday. Just a little bit of doubt in my mind.
Well, this is the man that he'll be taking on Saturday night. Let's hear from Thomas Triver introducing Jai Opataya.
By way of knockout, he is the current Ring Magazine champion and the undefeated former IBF Cruiserweight World Champion, Jai Opataya.
Here he is, the Ring Magazine Cruiserweight champion, very much bringing the thunder from down under. Australia's Jai Opataya, widely seen as the #1 cruiserweight in the world. but he is taking on a man on Saturday night who the last time they fought, he broke his jaw.
He broke his jaw, he had injured hands. The two of them left that ring and they had that whole medical list. I'm going to hold my hands up now. Jai Opetaia might just be my favourite fighter right now. I don't say he's the best fighter right now, but there's something about him. There's just something I really like about him. So it was a delight when I heard he was coming to Britain and working in Britain and been working in Saudi and back in. I'm absolutely... I'm like a child a little bit, to be honest with you.
Well, he's the best cruiserweight in the world right now. He's the #1 in the division, Ring Magazine. And I actually seen him training in the gym today. We went out with a piece. It was good. There was a real intensity to him.
Yeah.
But he looked... he's an intense kind of guy, isn't he? But he looked sharp as a razor.
I tell you a story, Dave. We were doing a BBC pod last night, and Jai Opetaia was about 50 feet away. It's at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be really careful because we were talking about Jai Opetaia, and I just thought, if he's got, I bet his ears are brilliant. And we actually whispered on the pod as we were recording it, and he walked by us, and he walked. So we were just talking about you, and he said, "I know." So I'm telling you, I love the guy.
Well, let's hear from him.
Back here in Riyadh for another fight week for you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Ready to put on a big show.
Now, the last fight was a fantastic one. The fans loved it. Can they expect more of the same on Saturday night?
Definitely. I feel like it's he's going to come out swinging, and we're ready for anything he brings.
What is a prediction for Saturday night? How it ends? How does it go down?
I don't know how it ends yet, but it ends with my hand raised.
What does it mean being on such a huge card and back here in Riyadh?
It's awesome to be here, being a part of one of the biggest fight nights, of this decade. So, I'm honoured to be here. We've earned our spot here, and now we're willing, we're ready to put on a good show.
Do you think you might be fight of the night, Saturday night?
Man, we're going to try to steal the fight. I got no doubt Breedis is prepared well, so, I'm expecting a war.
Best of luck. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, Steve, you made a point there.
Yeah, I was just saying, Matt, I just noticed it today. The first fighter that came out tonight, which seems like hours ago, walked down the ramp on his own, looking around, he was happy. Then the next fighter came with his trainer, a couple came with a trainer, then one came with a trainer and someone else. We've suddenly got to that stage where it's coming down the ramp with 7 or 8 people. I'm going to go for Usyk, I'm going to go 16, and I'm going to go for Fury, and we'll stop it, we'll count them. I'm going to go 19 for Fury.
Okay, let's get the over-under for the
Over-under,
entourage,
yeah.
please. I'll tell you what, though, about Jai Opetaia, it's what you said, intensity. There is a fire in the eyes of Opetaia.
Completely, and a real laser focus. He's on it, man on a mission. He's undefeated world champion, #1 in the division, and he's loving life.
And he doesn't want to go, just quickly, he doesn't want to go. Sorry, I'm talking over Thomas. He doesn't want to go the distance. He wants to blast him out of there, and it's nasty.
Let's first welcome, coming to us from Belfast, Northern Ireland. He brings a professional record of 21 wins, just 1 defeat, with 7 wins, coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome the reigning and defending IBO Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Anthony, the Andy Town Apache Kakachi.
Well, I'll tell you what, Anthony Kakachi loved that. The Apache has landed in Riyadh, landed on the big stage, a career full of ups and downs, highs and lows. He has got his world title shot on the biggest stage of them all. At last, he will challenge to become a world champion, and he takes on Joe Cordina on Saturday night as part of the biggest show of all time. Let's have a look at Anthony Kakachi making his way over to the stage, the grandest stage of them all. Well, I'm delighted to be also in the company now, who's just joined us off screen, actually on screen now. Maurizio Suleiman, president of the WBC. How are you, sir?
Very, very happy, very excited to be here. It was a long trip,
yeah,
but it's lovely. So exciting, so much energy.
25 years, Maurizio, 25 years. We have waited for an undisputed king. It's taken so long, but we're finally here. How does it feel?
Well, it's very exciting. From that Lennox Lewis era, which captured the imagination of the whole world, to be here, that in just a few days we're going to have an undisputed champion. is something for the history books.
Tell us about this belt.
This belt is a creation for the Undisputed. It's the Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. It has the WBC and all the organization's logos. It has Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson as the iconic legends of the heavyweight division. Of course, the Ukrainian flag, the British flag, and this is just a piece that is one of a kind for the winner, and that will be it.
Listen, Matt, as a fighter, seeing belts like this, look, it matters, doesn't it? These are the stuff that you can put in your house, you know, you can show your grandchildren. This is special.
Yeah, of course it is. It's a unique one-off piece as well. Like I say, Undisputed, the first of the four-belt era. This is an historic event, and the winner's going to make history.
And Maurizio, how fitting is it that you've got two undefeated fighters at the very top of their game? It's not a passing of the torch kind of fight. These are two fighters right at it, world champions. Have those go at it for the undisputed crown. How fitting is that?
Well, it's huge. Each one has a very different story, but both are fascinating. Today, their inspiration is very different as well. Usyk is fighting for his country, for the legacy, for the spirits of his whole country. And Tyson Fury is fighting for his own era, because he came back from being at the lowest and showed that you can come back from defeat. And he's the inspiration of millions of people in the mental wellness scenario. So this is an unbelievable, because they're at the top of their game in boxing, but also at the top of their mental state with so much motivation and very good corners behind them.
And that's quite fitting that it is Mental Health Awareness Week this week as well. So we talk about how Oleksandr Usyk is fighting for a nation. Tyson Fury is fighting for all of those suffering, like he has done throughout this kind of resurgence in his career. It's an important moment, Maurizio.
It is very important that 25 years from tonight, 50 years, a century, we will be talking about the Ring of Fire. This is a new era of boxing. Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season, His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh has made something that didn't take in 25 years. So there's something happening, and it is great to be part of this history-making moment.
It's going to be very special. Maurizio, we're going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of the festivities. Enjoy Boulevard City, and I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the support.
Hey, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Maurizio. Maurizio Suleiman. We'll swap him out. Let's bring back in Mr. Steve Butt. Let's have a look at Mr. Joe Cordina, who's going to be making his way now to the stage. The reigning undefeated IBF World Super Featherweight Champion. And I'll tell you something, Joe Cordina doesn't take easy fights. As a world champion, he's gone Rakhimov, he's gone Valdez, who was a bloody handful himself, and now he's got Anthony Kakachi.
What he says, Joe Cordina, I'm not sure if Matt spoke to him as well yesterday, as he said, it's taken me a long while to get here. Now it's time to have those fights. Now it's time to make not just a legacy, but security. As he said, not just for my kids, but for their kids. And that's what they are. Remember, they're prize fighters, and the prize is the money. The belts are lovely, as Maurizio's just shown you, but they're prize fighters. That's what Joe's having this fight, because this fight, a good win against Kakachi, by the way, that catapults him into really big fights, and then we go back to lightweight.
Yeah, and by the way, you know, Cordina's the favourite, and he should win. But I was speaking to Anthony Kakachi yesterday. He's so up for this. He feels like he's got nothing to lose. All the pressure's on Cordina, and he said I've seen mistakes. You know, because Cordina can blow hot and cold. When he's hot, he's hot. But he has had a few off nights, and Kakachi wants to take advantage.
Well, let's find out how hot he's going to be on Saturday night. He's with Ali Drew.
To Riyadh, posing for the photos. Come and stand here. Welcome to Riyadh. First time fighting in Saudi Arabia. How good is that?
Unbelievable feeling. I've been all around the world boxing, but it's the first time in Saudi, so I'm looking forward to it. I've been treated like a king so far. Hospitality is unreal, and to be honest, it was unbelievable when I first arrived. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm in a tough fight, so yeah, looking forward to Saturday.
You've been pushing for the big fights. You want the big fights. You want the hardest fights. Obviously, you're on a historic card. What do you predict happens on Saturday night?
Obviously, like you say, in historic cards, it's the biggest card in history, biggest fight in history. So, but when it comes to big fights, I've been involved in big shows before. AJ Klitschko, AJ Takam, AJ Parker, Errol Spence, Kell Brook. So big shows ain't nothing new to me, but this is as big as it gets, and I'm looking to put on a show and get the win on Saturday.
Now, you must have watched quite a bit of Anthony Kakachi. What are you expecting him to bring that might make it difficult for you?
Yeah, he's a great fighter. I've watched him for years, and I always had a feeling now at some point we're going to meet. He's got great footwork, good power, good boxing ability, good boxing brain. But I just believe in my ability, and I believe that I'm better in every aspect of that. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. It'll be a great fight. He's a nice guy, and looking forward to sharing the ring with him.
How does the fight end?
With a win, by any means. I got to win for me to secure my family's future. This has to be a win for me.
Well, great to have you on the card, and best of luck.
Cheers, Ali. Thank you.
Cool, calm and collected Joe Cordina, and I think we're about to be joined by another man who's very cool, calm and collected. I suddenly feel a lot more secure. Mr. Fraser Clark has joined us. How are you, sir?
Okay.
Great to see you, Fraser Clark.
Big phrase.
Listen, big phrase. Let's just get your opening thoughts, because I've not really spoken to you about this fight. 25 years in the making, undisputed. This is pretty big, isn't it?
It doesn't come bigger. I've not seen it bigger, since my days of watching boxing, and what a privilege to be here, because this is one of them fights where was you? Where was you moment, and I'm right here, and I'm loving it.
Well, listen, you're taking it all in here. Presumably you're looking to get on shows like this as well. But what have you kind of gleaned from your Riyadh experience? It's quite a place, isn't it?
It's beautiful. The traffic can be a bit of a pain, but other than that, it's absolutely beautiful. The hospitality has been amazing, and just the setup. You just have to look around, and an undisputed fight. This is what it deserves. It would have been lovely to have it, in England at Wembley, but I don't think they could have compared to this. This is unbelievable, and I'm glad to be here.
And also, Fraser, it's just, I know there's super feathers on the bill and cruisers, but it's the home of heavyweights. I mean, at the top 30 heavyweights, only about 5 or 6 of you that have not fought here in the last since October last year. I mean, you will fight here in the next 12 months. I'm convinced of it.
Well, coming out, it's the second time I've been here now.
I remember.
And it puts the fire in your belly, Steve. If you're not working hard enough already, work harder, because titles are aims. Being a world champion is an aim, but being out here fighting on these stages as a young fighter, or not young, but as a fighter, this is what it's about, And these guys on the undercard, what an experience! Honest God, I'm in awe of them.
Matt, let's bring you in here. We're looking at Bob Arum and Frank Warren on the screen.
I wonder which one of those two picked this soundtrack to come out to.
That's great.
Definitely.
It's normally Majestic, the DJ. I think he's given Eddie some good ones as well, like Here Comes the Money. Like he's doing a fantastic job. But it's great to see, Bob and Frank, top of their game right now, and really walking the walk onto the stage.
Oh, completely. If Frank Warren was a boxer, he'd be Rocky Balboa, because he's never beaten, and you think he's down and then he's back in. What's that one? Godfather 3, the Tinker Man, they bring me back in.
You know what? All we've had all night from Matt is movie quotes. We started the show, and within 1 minute he was doing Michael Corleone from The Godfather. Now he's doing Rocky Balboa.
But he's right, though, isn't he? Look,
he is right.
I mean, you look at that. This is without the fighters being there. You're looking at history. Frank Warren, Bob Arum. What have they done for boxing? Do you know what I mean?
Thank you so much, Fraser Clark. Just before I let you go, one word, Fury or Usyk?
Fury.
Okay, thank you, Fraser. We're going to head over to Ali Drew.
See you, Fraser.
You have been involved in some of the biggest fight nights that we have seen. How will Saturday night's fight night compare?
Hey, in boxing, unfortunately, we don't see enough of these events. The undisputed heavyweight championship of the world occurs so infrequently that it's almost like a blue moon coming. And now, Saturday night, we will have here in Riyadh the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And that means that after this fight is over, there is one baddest man on the planet, and that is the undisputed heavyweight champion. And that means everything for the sport of boxing, and it means everything for fans that love boxing.
It certainly does, and thank goodness that it is happening. And Frank, I'll come to you. You're at the forefront of making this fight happen out here in Riyadh. How special is it now we've reached fight week?
This is the biggest boxing event of the 21st century. First time ever 4 belts have been on the line. 2 undefeated fighters at their prime. It's not a young guy looking to get the baton from the champion. These are 2 guys at their best, both champions. We're going to get something extra special. And it's taken the Riyadh season, it's taken his excellency and his team to bang all our heads together to make it happen. And we've got something that is going to be a unique, special event. And as Bob just said, one champion, one guy is going to be the baddest guy on the planet. And this is going to be a fight that everybody will remember. It'll be one of those events where you will know where you were on the night that there became one champion in the world.
It's certainly going to be a special night. Thank you both.
Well, great to hear from 2 Hall of Fame boxing promoters in Frank Warren and Bob Arum. And I think it was summarised quite well there, Matt. This is one of those fights, one of those moments where you remember where you were and how you felt.
Yeah, and there aren't that many moments in your life, but there's a few, isn't there? And this will be one of those, for sure.
Which ones have you got in your mind, Steve? Moments, fights, where you remember where you were, who you were with, how you felt?
Ben McClellan, for all the wrong reasons. Chavez, you shouldn't have done this. You know I'm going to go on all night. Chavez and Haugen, 143,000 people in the Azteca Stadium, okay, in Mexico, 1993 February, and sitting next to me, wearing nothing but gold chains and his Speedos and his flip-flops, Mr. T. I'll leave the mic, I'll get my coat, I'm going. That's a true story. So you know your movie stuff, son, no disrespect. I had Mr. T. I had Mr. T next to me.
Well, that signals the end of Steve Bunce's fight week.
Thank you very much.
Top that, Steve. Goodness me. But this is one
Buster
of those.
Douglas, Mike Tyson. Everyone remembers where they were.
Absolutely. Where they were when they found out if they weren't watching it live, when you got that phone call on a landline, and my one, I had a message left, and I didn't watch it live, and then I got a phone call. He did it, and at first I didn't know what he was talking about. He did it. He's won. He's beaten him. Unbelievable.
Well, this is one of those. Let's talk about Usyk heading into this. So say Usyk beats Fury. How will he be remembered in history?
Well, I think he'll be remembered as a great fighter, a great person. I still think people will reluctantly want to place him in really high lists of heavyweights, but I think he'll be higher in a list of pound-for-pound fighters, if you know what I mean. And that sounds like a slight contradiction in terms. You know, I don't know.
He's right because he's come up from cruiserweight.
Absolutely,
that's the reason why.
So it'll be more it'll be like a rounded list, but he'll be in great. Listen, if he loses, he's still on those lists, Ed. Yeah. He doesn't vanish overnight. If he were to pull it off, and if it were to be a masterclass, Usyk pulled off a masterclass, it would be one of the great performances. And I've got to tell you, he's capable of doing everything that Tyson Fury's fans fear. I'm convinced of it. He's capable of pulling off a punch-perfect, foot-perfect, second-perfect performance. And that's not saying, I'm not saying he's going to do it, I'm saying he's capable of doing it.
He is capable of it, but also he's going to have to do that if he's going to beat Tyson Fury.
This Fury especially.
Yeah.
So if Tyson Fury beats Oleksandr Usyk, Matt, how will history remember him?
So if Tyson, well, the best heavyweight of his era, of his generation, you can only be the best of your era, and so far he's been that, and I think if he wins on Saturday night, he just cements it even more so.
But we know we'll have another fight, and then we know inevitably that we'll get AJ and Fury. We know that if Fury loses on Saturday night, we still get AJ and Fury at some point. That's the Saudi influence. And as I said to you when we started the show, in April, May last year, I thought this fight was absolutely dead. We're never going to see it. I thought we're never ever going to see Fury and AJ, ever. I would have bet my house on it. Those two fights never happening. But one of them's a few days away and one of them's a few months away.
When the cut happened in February, I just thought, you know what, this whole undisputed, it's just cursed. It's not going to happen. I thought, that's it. There's going to be an IBF mandatory, something now. The belt's going to get fragmented. It's gone. That's what I thought.
Well, look, the fight is a few days away, and I can actually confirm that a few metres away is Mr. Andy Clark. Let's go over to Andy.
Thanks very much, Dev. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Hall of Fame promoter and Commander-in-Chief at Top Rank, Mr. Bob Arum. Bob, in your long storied career, where does this fight and this promotion rank?
Well, how many undisputed heavyweight championship matches have we ever seen? Very few. We haven't seen one in over a quarter of a century. So I think this is great for boxing. This is a great event. You know, boxing is such strong all over the world. You know, 2 weeks ago I was in Japan for Inouye's fight, and then last week in Australia for Lomachenko and Kambosos, and now here for the heavyweight championship, the undisputed. There's nothing like it. It's the biggest event in boxing, taking place on Saturday here in Riyadh.
Bob, thanks very much for your time. I think our main event fighters are about to walk down the catwalk, so we'll let you go. Thanks very much. Back to you, Dev.
For Top Rank Incorporated.
Well, let's head over to Thomas Schreiber, who is going to bring in the one and only Oleksandr Usyk.
Entertainment Authority, GIA, Gold Star Promotions, K2 Promotions, and Sella. This great event will be shown worldwide on DAZN pay-per-view, in the United States on ESPN Plus pay-per-view, and in the UK on Sky Sports Box Office, TNT Sports Box Office, and DAZN. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to extend a big thank you to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency, Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Turkey Al-Sheikh. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event this Saturday night, 12 rounds scheduled. It will be for the WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA, IBO Undisputed Heavyweight Championships of the World. Let's first welcome from Ukraine. He is the reigning and defending WBA, WBO, IBF, and IBO heavyweight champion of the world, undefeated with 21 wins, 14 of his 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Oleksandr Usyk.
Well, here comes the Ukrainian wizard, the unified world heavyweight champion, Oleksandr Usyk. He has already had a taste of undisputed at cruiserweight, and now he gets his opportunity to become the undisputed heavyweight world champion, the first in 25 years. I think he just had a little sparkle hit the top of his head, but he does look the business.
He does. I mean, Matt mentioned it earlier and Frank mentioned it, just how slim also Usyk looks. We've been focusing on how Tyson looks slim, how his face looks slimmed down, toned down, how his skin's glowing. Well, this guy, I've never seen him this slim. Now, whether he can't come in any lighter, Dev, surely. You know, he's only coming in at 15-1 or whatever, but he just looks. I've not seen his face that slim, and I've been up close and personal for his last 3 fights. I've seen him the day before, 2 days before, this close.
Well, that's interesting, Steve, because he seems to have found his weight at heavyweight. He's around 220, 221. It's never really above or below that.
Well, he's done something amazing, Deb, that I've never seen, and I've checked the record books. 3 heavyweight fights at the exact same weight. I've never known that happen, ever. Happens with super feathers, happens with middles like Matt, but heavies, they always fluctuate. He's been 221 last 3 fights. And so I've seen him at the weigh-in and before the fight, and he's never quite looked that skinny.
Well, I'm sure we're going to hear from the unified world heavyweight champion very shortly. Of course, he has Alex Krasik by his side. He's got fans in the building here as well in Boulevard City. Egis Klimas the other side. And we're going to hear now from Oleksandr Usyk. He joins Ali Drew.
Oleksandr, we finally reached the long-awaited fight week for the undisputed titles. How are you feeling?
I feel good.
That's the only emotion you're feeling now?
No, because after this event I go to sleep.
How good is it to be here in Riyadh? A huge fight, but also a huge fight week ahead.
Listen, I'm very happy to be here. Listen, Saturday, it's special day because я буду иметь. I will have opportunity second time undisputed. It's great. Listen, it's very good for me. It's very important for my country. I like.
Now, you have said you've got plans for Tyson Fury. Can you tell us what those plans are?
No, because Tyson Fury now maybe say for me, I have plan. It's better plan. It's a great plan.
It's staying a secret.
Yes, a little bit.
Does this fight week feel different, Alex?
Say it again?
Does this fight week feel different?
Yeah, it's a little bit hot, but you know, the emotion is in the air, the energy is in the air. Listen, we are in front of making history. This is for the first time ever, 4 belts on the line. Oleksandr Usyk, the former cruiserweight and the current unified heavyweight champion, is fighting Tyson Fury, the WBC champion, and is defeating him. What can be better?
Well, Oleksandr, we'll leave the last word for you. Can we have a prediction and a final word for your fans that are supporting you back in Ukraine?
Фанатам в Україну я посилаю меседж, я вас люблю. My fans in Ukraine and all my fans. Listen, I really appreciate support for my fans and Ukrainian soldiers. I love my fans. Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, Oleksandr Usyk, he's certainly not come here to give away any secrets, Matt.
No, and you wouldn't expect him to, would you? He's not going to start breaking down the fight, is he? You know, look, it's like, to a degree, there's poker face on it, and everyone's got the front. He said it yesterday, nobody's going to tell you that, oh, you know what, actually, I was ill a few weeks ago, or I got my knuckle in sparring. Everyone's going to tell you everything went great, the best shape they've been, etc., etc. That said, both guys did seem like that was legitimately the truth. They both looked really well.
He was a little bit less smiley than I've seen him in the past, Dev. I just saw him going, look at him there, going away, finishing. You know, we got that shot there, and I'm happy with that. That makes me happy. I didn't like it when AJ came out against him at Tottenham Hotspurs, kissing babies' heads and posing and getting up in the ring and asking Clifton Mitchell, who's in charge of security, what did you do? I don't want to see him. I want to see him focused, a little bit mean, because that's what he is. All this laughing and joking with him and the silly dances and the silly shorts, that's an act. He's a mean man.
You want to see the focus, and with the focus comes a bit of an edge, a bit of spite. You need that.
It feels like maybe he's just flicked that switch. As we get closer and closer, it's gone.
Just flicking it. It might not. It might. You know what it might be? It might be a fader light. Yeah. You know those old lights you used to get in the 90s. So it's not a flick. It's just turn it slightly. It's just a dimmer, baby, a dimmer. He's getting there. Don't worry.
Well, listen. I'm hoping we're going to speak to Oleksandr Usyk very, very shortly. I'm hoping he tells us more than he is good. He is great. He wants to go to sleep. Do you think we'll get any more out of him?
No, you're joking. We'll leave off. What are you talking about? We'll get a nice. He's really thinking a lot about the war in Ukraine at the moment. So I think we all know that's not going as well as maybe we'd all like it to be going. Unless, you know, I don't want to turn this into a political broadcast. So I think that's on his mind. I really do, Dev. But we'll get. What more do you want? It's like we used to get big drama show from Golovkin.
Yeah.
That's what you want, don't you? It is good. That's all you want.
It is what you want. There's something about that accent
Bingo.
and the delivery. It's cold, it's calculated, and when it's delivered with no emotion in the face as well, it's even better, Matt.
Yeah, listen, I mean, English, I don't know if it's his second or third or fourth, whatever language it is. But even with that, he has got a sense of humour.
Yeah.
Even in English. Brilliant.
That's what he does, man. He's a great character outside the ring. Alex Krass, who hopefully we'll have up here as well. He's a sensational guy doing interviews and saying the right thing, and he's a great diplomat. And in the ring, they do their business. You know what they are, and it's a word that we use in boxing not as often as I'd like us to use it a bit more. We use legend too much. He's class. He's classy. Everything about Usyk and Usyk business, all the personal stuff that we only know a little bit about, all this professional stuff, it's classy, don't you? I think that sums him up. He's a classy guy, Oleksandr Usyk.
Classy people.
Well, he'll be in very, very high class, very elite class, if he can become the undisputed champion. Because not just he'll be undisputed champion at heavyweight, he's also done it at cruiserweight. It's quite something, Steve.
And the cruiserweight run, I know we haven't got time now, and I don't have the record in front of me, but it was done overseas. It was done in backyards. It was done in fights which we think he was nailed on to win, but on paper they were hard fights. Oh, really hard fights. That's sensational.
From England, he is undefeated with 34 wins, 1 draw, 24 of his 34 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the reigning and defending WBC and the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, known as the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury.
Well, I'll tell you what, he really needs no introduction. The Gypsy King, the long-reigning lineal world heavyweight champion, WBC world heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury, ahead of what he is calling the toughest fight of his career, undisputed, awaits on Saturday night against the man you just saw, Oleksandr Usyk. And Tyson Fury looks like he's about to go to a party, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what decade that party is, though. That's the only thing. Listen, Gypsy John's there, Dev, because I'm sure that was... if I hadn't seen Gypsy John, that becomes a question. He's there. That story's dead now. He looks like he's looked all the time. As big and slim and as confident as we know he's been all week.
No, absolutely that. And you talk about people who are born for the big stage. Just look at this man. Born for it, Matt.
Completely. An absolute natural. From when he was a kid, he was saying he was going to be the best. And then when he turned pro, he was saying, I'm going to be, and now here he is.
But it's not been an easy journey, as we've sort of half mentioned earlier on. I think people sometimes overlook how hard it has been for him, Dev.
The story has been absolutely incredible. And you see there, Frank Warren, we touched upon it already, Spencer Brown as well. But pulled him up, Steve, as you said, from hell. Dragged him up from hell. And here he is now on the biggest stage of them all.
Well, like Steve said, it's like that picture, the famous one with the iceberg underneath the water and the top. And everyone says everyone thinks success looks like this. They don't see this thing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That is a great image. Great image, Matt. Let's hear from the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, who is joined by Ali Drew.
Tyson, the biggest fight week of your career has arrived. How different does this one feel?
Feels absolutely fantastic to be in the great kingdom of Saudi Arabia. 2024!
How are you feeling about Saturday night, the magnitude of that fight?
I'm feeling fantastic. Can't wait to put a good show on. There's so many people coming, such an event. All the big stars are here. Oh, it's just going to be epic. Cannot wait for Saturday night.
Now, you look in fantastic shape. I've just heard in my earpiece, Usyk was just up in the press position. He said, when you're nervous, you lose weight. What do you have to say about that?
I'm very nervous, Usyk. Please don't beat me up on Saturday night. Please. Extra, please.
How important is getting that win Saturday night for your legacy and the history that you leave on boxing?
Let me tell you, if I was fighting an old dosser on Saturday night who had 5 fights and lost them all, it's very important to me. Every fight I've ever had is important to me. Every little fight along the way, 4-rounder, didn't do any 4-rounders, any 6-round, 8-rounder, 10-rounder, any one of them. Along the way, they were all very important. I believe every left and right turn I've ever taken in my life, every time I fell over, every time I've climbed up, was all leading to this moment. It's destiny. Written in the stars, a million miles away. Get up!
Spencer, let's bring you in at the forefront, as well as Frank, of making these fights happen. Just how exciting is this for Tyson?
It's everything we wanted. We're here now. He's here to do a job, and we are going to do a job. It's a big man against a little man, and you'll see on Saturday night how Tyson prevails on this one. He's in unbelievable form, great shape. Camp's gone unbelievable. Everybody's a happy man, a happy fighter, a good fighter. So we're really looking forward to it.
And Frank, you're used to being around boxing week in, week out, but does this one excite you that little bit more?
Without a doubt. It's historical. This is historical. I keep repeating myself. The first time this century, first time ever, two guys at the peak, at the best of their careers. What can't you want more than that? It's a boxing dream. And you've got the man here, this man here, who, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, is the best heavyweight on the planet. And I believe on Saturday night he's going to prove that to the world.
Well, let's give the final word to Tyson. Let's get a prediction. How does the fight go Saturday night?
I predict somebody's O has got to go. Someone's O's got to go, and it's going to be that team over there, unfortunately for them. Listen, Oleksandr Usyk's a great fighter. Olympic gold medalist, cruiserweight world champion, heavyweight world champion. But unfortunately for him, he has to come against the great Tyson Fury. In the era of me. I'm really looking forward to Saturday night, and all them people, even if he had 20 million people screaming his name, they cannot fight for him on the night. And when there's two men in there on the night, it's going to be very daunting when he's got the Undertaker in the ring with him. I'm coming for you, sucker. Sausage.
Best of luck.
I'll tell you what, I enjoyed that. I liked that interview from Tyson Fury. What did you think, Steve?
Well, listen, it was exactly what I expected or I hoped for, but it could have flipped the other way. It could have been the other way. I don't like it when he gets short and sharp. He was focused. He was putting stuff together. He sounded good. He was fluid. And then once again, David, you picked up on earlier on, is that respectful thing. He went through the whole thing. Sure, he called him a sausage, but it was a pantomime sausage, not a real sausage. There was no anger or spite. It was, and you sausage. He pointed
one of those
over.
little buffet ones.
Yeah, what again? It was on a stick. Yeah, it was on a stick with a bit of pineapple.
There are different types of sausages out there. I'll tell you what, though, a man who he has been calling a sausage was Oleksandr Usyk, and he watched that entire interview.
Yes.
That doesn't always happen, Steve.
No, it doesn't, but I think he wanted to see. I mean, it's quite crucial now what they're saying about each other, what they're doing. Not maybe to the boxers, but to the entourages, to the teams to see. So he would have watched that, Oleksandr, and he'd be looking, because he's trained in sporting psychology. So he's looking for tics, he's looking for nervousness, he's looking for endless stupid repetition, he's looking for cheap nasty insults. That was a quality, that's what I said about to you. That was a quality interview there from Tyson. Relaxed, didn't repeat himself, got to points, let Ali ask the questions, listen, built up to throwing out stuff. That was good stuff. There's a load of interviews where fighters, they can seem calm, but you know they're jittery from just the way their actions are and the things they do, and they start to lose it. That was calm. Usyk would have noticed that.
Yeah, the body language doesn't lie, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, he didn't hesitate, he didn't repeat himself, he didn't, you know, he was very, very focused, but very, very switched on. Very focused, but very relaxed.
Stand at attention!
Well, we are going to bring in Mr. Alex Krasik and, of course, his heavyweight charge, Mr. Oleksandr Usyk. How are you?
Hi, bro. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Oleksandr. How are you, sir? How are you?
Sorry.
Listen.
Yeah, you got stuck in the wires. Don't worry, Alex.
First thing, Oleksandr, you watched the entire Tyson Fury interview. You watched it all. What were you looking for, and what did you see?
I just watch what say Tyson, what say Uncle Frank. Yeah, listen, наблюдение.
Observation.
It's my observation because I building my plan. Listen, I told people I a little bit crazy.
Oleksandr, you are enjoying this week, aren't you? You are loving this week. You are enjoying it.
Yes, of course, definitely. Because, listen, I'm not only this week.
Enjoy.
I'm enjoy only my day.
Yeah.
Because Lord give me every day. When I wake up morning early, yeah, and pray, I think, listen, God give me day, live, happy, smile, called friend, called mama, called my wife, children. It's unbelievable time, you know, now. I love.
Tell me this, Oleksandr. The last time there was an undisputed world heavyweight champion was 1999. Oleksandr Usyk was 12 years old. Would that Oleksandr Usyk believe that the next time there was an undisputed heavyweight champion, he would be the man challenging?
Тобі було 12, коли крайній раз був Undisputed в 99-му. Чи той 12-річний хлопчик Сашка вірив в те, що наступний Undisputed вже буде він?
No, of course no. It's only my dream was. It was only my dream. Because I think, I don't know, grow I big or not, maybe 75 kilo.
Middleweight.
Middleweight, yeah, I don't know what I was, heavyweight. But I think when I see this TV, Tyson, Lewis, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, I say, wow, it's great. Wow. What we need do that go this TV and the boxing. Now I hear. I say thank you, my God.
And Oleksandr, are you looking forward to being with those giants? Tyson, Muhammad Ali, all of those, Lennox Lewis. That could be your name, could be next to them. Are you looking forward to that?
Чи чекаєш ти того, що твоє ім'я буде наступним у цьому
I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's up to people who like me. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe.
Alex, let me bring you in here. There was obviously a few things that happened yesterday. I saw a couple of your interviews. You said that you detect nervousness from Team Fury. Is that right? Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Listen, when a man gets nervous or a woman gets nervous, she's losing weight or he's losing weight. And it's normal. It's burning. You don't eat much. You all the time think. It's like a mental disorder, because you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, you don't rest well, and that's why you're losing weight. Or another strategy, which is applicable to his father, the same but gaining weight. It's nervous.
You said that, not me, by the way. That was fully Alex Krasik. We do not endorse these comments, me and Steve Bunce here.
It's
Goodness
the same,
me.
but from a different perspective.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be nervous. Usyk said he will not leave him alone. Yeah. No, there's no reason to be nervous.
Alex, can I ask you a serious question? And obviously Oleksandr can listen.
That wasn't a serious one.
Yeah, but you gave us a good answer, and you know you did. Because you're very. Alex, these are long weeks for fighters. I know Oleksandr has been here before, but this is only Tuesday. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, commitment. It's a lot for a boxer. Do you worry ever about the workload that the boxers have to do in these big weeks?
As soon as he's overloaded, we stop all the commitments.
Okay.
He goes to bed, to sleep, to eat, or whatever. But normally, this man has one of the most expended stamina in the world, so he can.
Very dramatic tonight, Alex.
3,
very
5,
dramatic
7
tonight.
times more than you, me, and him together. That's why he's the champion.
I've heard, Alex, a great line, by the way. You've been putting out some pretty harsh warnings for Tyson Fury, talking about Oleksandr Usyk stealing his soul. You're really backing your man on Saturday.
Well, that was the question. Tony Bellew said that Usyk exhausts his opponent C4, killing him.
Yeah.
That's how he does it, step by step. First, he's eating your confidence. When you start missing your punches, then he's eating your soul. When you get depressed that you can do, you can get stuck to the plan. Your plan is not in action. And then he's eating your body with the punches. And then when there's no one to fight, he's just knocking you out.
Oleksandr, is that the plan, to eat the soul of Tyson Fury on Saturday night?
Чи це план з'їсти серце, душу і тіло Тайсона Ф'юрі в суботу?
No. My plan, just win.
We've got to let you go. I've been told to let you go. Oleksandr, it's been an absolute privilege speaking to you, sir. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to you as well, Alex Krasik. Oleksandr Usyk, unified world heavyweight champion. Some great lines, some great bars dropped there. And Alex Krasik sending out some pretty stern warnings. Usyk perhaps a little bit nicer. And again, once again, just because I'm terrified, we don't endorse the comments about John Fury's weight, do we, Steve?
Well, we don't endorse them, but, Big John, grabs his stomach himself, and it wasn't nasty or malicious. It was nice and relaxed and nice and fun. And we know everybody's. In fact, if you can look behind,
I think we're on it.
You've seen that behind me,
just over the shoulder of Matthew Macklin. Yeah. Oleksandr Usyk is dancing, he is moving, he is posing, and he looks in fine fettle.
We've been saying for years now, it's impossible to dislike Oleksandr Usyk.
Impossible.
And his people. Whether you're the biggest Fury fan. And, let's whisper it. Fury admires him. He admires him as a man, as a family man. You've done those interviews, not the silly ones, the good ones. And Fury talks about, how, he respects. He's got great respect for Oleksandr Usyk as a human.
He respects him, he admires him, he likes him. Yeah. This is business. Yeah. After this fight's out of the way, well, maybe not this one, maybe they'll do the rematch. But at some point in time, these two will become friends.
There is an old saying, game recognises game. I think Tyson Fury knows exactly what he's looking at. That is a proper fighter, that is a special fighter, and I guess we're lucky to have them both in the same era.
Let alone in the same ring. I mean, if they were boxing in the same decade at different weights, if Oleksandr Usyk had stayed at middleweight, we'd go to his fights in Las Vegas and maybe go to his fights in Ukraine or come to his fights in Riyadh. And if Tyson Fury was a welterweight, he wouldn't have the impacts, he wouldn't be 6'9", but we'd still love him. It just so happens that we got these two fabulous fighters, these two fabulous characters, two unbeaten fighters, and they're heavyweights, and they're going to salvage and save stuff that we thought we'd lost. How we've been desperate in the last 25 years for these 4 belts to be in one ring. Not once, not twice, hundreds of times. I could list dozens and dozens of fights that you'd forgotten about that were just not that good, that are all going to be happening, that are all going to end when the first bell sounds. 4 belts, 1 champion, bingo.
Unbelievable. The heavyweight division is the signature division, isn't it, in boxing, the whole sport of boxing. And when the heavyweight division is thriving, boxing's thriving, now you're going to have
simple as that,
the first undisputed champion in however long, the first ever of the 4-belt era. And it's
well, this may well be the next undisputed world heavyweight champion. Mr. Tyson Fury has joined us, or is this the Undertaker? I can't tell, Tyson.
I can't tell either. That might be the Undertaker. I'll have to let you know later on.
I'll tell you what, though. Look, Frank's been saying all week about the shape of you. You look about 25 years old. The beard's gone. The jawline's out.
I've got a tan.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy, Frank?
I've been tanning.
Monkey gland injections.
Oleksandr Usyk watched your entire interview. He was there, eyes completely focused on you as well. You gave him a little song as well. What are your thoughts right now today? Grand Arrivals Day. What did you think of seeing Usyk?
I haven't really seen him, to be honest. I've heard his team screaming and shouting, but I haven't seen Usyk. I'm sure he's up for it. If he's not up for this one, he's never going to be up for a fight, is he? That's for sure. I just look forward to having a good fight Saturday night.
It's going to be an absolute big one. Listen, the last time there was an undisputed world heavyweight champion, it was 1999.
What was that?
Last time, undisputed world heavyweight champion, 1999. Oh yeah, look, he's got it on the hat. Can we zoom in on the hat, by the way? Just give us a little...
No, I haven't got it on the hat.
It's there, you can see it. But listen, Tyson Fury was 11 years old. Yeah. Now, would that Tyson Fury have believed that the next time there was an undisputed champion, he'd be in one corner challenging?
Probably not. No, not believe that I'd be the next one after that, but I'd always believed I'd be heavyweight champion of the world. Even from school days, like 9, 10 years old in school, I believed I'd be heavyweight champion, and I proved it time and time again. You know, I've been in this game a long time. I've had my ups and downs. Everyone knows about it. I've been fat, I've been thin, all my life. And I've always delivered on the big occasions, and that's what I do best. I deliver on the big occasions, and I expect Saturday night to be exactly the same as all the rest of the big occasions.
Frank, I overheard a conversation with you two earlier on in the week, and you said this is the best that you've seen him look.
I really do mean that. I'm not just saying it. In all the time I've known him, going back to the first time he fought Chisora, he just looks in magnificent condition.
Yeah,
Face.
in good shape. You know, when I get a good dance partner, I can be overdoing a bit of training then properly, and then, you know, we have a good fight. But it's hard for me to get up for people who I don't really rate. I know you put like these average men in front of me, like the Chisoras and the Dillian Whites and the Francis Ngannous and that, and I'm not getting turned on. They're not my type, if that makes any sense.
I know exactly what you mean.
Certainly turned on for this one.
But I'm definitely turned on for this one.
Yeah.
You're a big fighter.
Yeah, and in fact, you put me in a 6-rounder, I look like shit. You put me on the top of the world in the world's biggest stage, and I look good. I always do. That's how it rolls.
It feels like your kind of stance, what you're calling Usyk has changed. Of course, a few months ago it was sausage, it was all of those things, but now you're really giving him his flowers. You're talking about how great he is. What's led to that change?
No, I haven't changed my opinion. I do think he's ugly, gap-teeth, rabbit dosser. I still think that. But you can't take... I never ever once said that he didn't win world championships and he didn't win a gold medal in the Olympics. You can't question people's credentials if it's there for everybody to see. But I can say what I want about him. A gap-toothed, ugly little rabbit. I still have that opinion, but he's still a good fighter. Probably the best fighter I've ever fought. And I've come to this conclusion because he's a 2-division world champion, undisputed at cruiserweight, unified heavyweight, and Olympic gold medalist. Now, Klitschko was a heavyweight champion, an Olympic gold medalist, but he wasn't a weight below champion as well. And Wilder and all the people I fought, I don't think the credentials match up to Alexander the Great's. So yeah, I'm just giving him the respect he deserves as a boxer. Now, I can admire his achievements. Fantastic, he's done very well in his career. You don't forget, he's come from like a poor background and become a multi-millionaire out of boxing, the great sport of boxing, like myself. And here we are, the two of us battling it out for all the marbles on Saturday night in the great kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
And he's undefeated. He's undefeated. These are two guys at their prime. You know, as I said earlier, that's what's so different about this fight. Very rarely do you get the guys meeting at their prime, undefeated at their prime.
I'll tell you what's
I've done it before, though, haven't I? I thought Wilder were both in our prime.
Sorry, yeah, that's
three
true,
times.
yeah.
Correct, 3 times indeed. Tell you what's
I'm
interesting.
always rolling these dice, aren't I? Travelling abroad, rolling it against these fighters. These 50-50 fights. I've had a few of them, haven't I?
Only a few.
I've been wrote off my whole life, even in them Chisora fights, 1 and 2, not 3.
Yeah.
I was the underdog going in. Both times.
You're on Team Chisora as well, Frank.
I was, and I said at the time. I told him straight after that fight, you do that against Klitschko and you'll beat him. And he done it and more.
Listen, Tyson, of course, Usyk's fighting for all of Ukraine, but we're actually in Mental Health Awareness Week as well. So whilst he's fighting for a nation, you are fighting for something much bigger this week as well. It represents more, right?
You know, it's Mental Health Awareness Week, and it's been no secret that I've struggled. I still struggle today. I've got bipolar disorder, I'm ADHD, can't keep still in my practice. 1 minute I'm high, 1 minute I'm low, even in training camps everywhere. So it's no secret. But look at me, I'm in fantastic shape, nearly 36-year-old, still on top of the world. And like I've said time and time again, I'm only just a man with 2 arms and 2 legs. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. The pictures on the internet of me, no returning me, not a half a mile running me, never mind returning to boxing. So it's out there. People have the will and the dedication. They can achieve anything they want to, for sure.
Matt, did you think that he'd come back and do this from the position that Tyson Fury was in?
I didn't even think so. It
didn't look like it at the time, did it? But, you know, he has come back from it, and
kudos to him for that.
Thank you.
Done it, but I thought he could do it.
Well, you took the gamble.
I could see it in his eyes that he wanted it, and he showed he wanted it, and he was the only one who could do it. He did it. I mean, obviously a few people on the outside close and helping him, but at the end of the day, he's the one who gets in the ring. He's the one who does it. He's got the mental willpower to go and do it in the ring. Nobody like him. Nobody like him.
Nobody like him. Tyson, nobody like you. Give us your final words now. We're going to let you go, but tell us a little something. Tell us about this fight on Saturday. Maybe even give us a song.
Tune in on Saturday night, you know, for the biggest fight in the last however long it's been, 100 years. Undisputed heavyweight championship. Who'd have thought this 2 years ago when it was struggling to get even a fight, Frank?
Correct.
And now we're back on the top of the crown jewel at Saudi Arabia in the biggest fight of the decade, of the century.
Of the century.
There we go.
Tyson, thank you so much. And give us a final look at that cap, please, or the hat, please. Undisputed.
Is it that side?
I think it's the other side. There you go. Cameras, please have a look at that.
That's what's going to happen on Saturday night. There.
Undisputed.
Thank you, Tyson.
As Wilder would say, see it, believe it, receive it. Boom!
Thank you, Tyson. Drop that mic. Just drop it. Just drop it. Come on. And Frank, we'll let you go as well. Tyson Fury, also known as The Undertaker. Great suit as well. I mean, this is quite something. Frank, we'll let you go as well. We're going to swap you back out and bring in Mr. Steve Bunt. And that was Tyson Fury. That is one half of the main event on Saturday night. Just a quick kind of wrap here. I mean, we've had the grand arrivals. We've had all these great fighters up on the stage. Tyson's had a look at Usyk. Usyk's had a little look at Tyson. Final kind of thoughts from today, Steve?
I'll tell you what I've seen today, and I don't. It's the first time ever I've been at a grand arrivals, and I've not. I hold my hand. I tell you the truth, not yawned. Generally, I'm at a grand arrivals. Oh, here's Canelo. Here's Lennox Lewis, here's Floyd Mayweather, here's Tyson. Today, it was a little bit more than that. We had the two of them up here, and you could sense something. You know, we had Mark Chamberlain up here, you could sense something. I just get the feeling that it was a little bit edgier today. A little bit edgier. I was just saying.
It's as edgy as yesterday.
No, exactly. But let's not bring that up.
I started again, but I thought I grabbed John around the neck immediately. Get out.
That is the voice of Spencer Brown. The Tyson Fury manager has now joined us. And Spencer, I mean, your man there, Tyson, he looks ready to go. He's already got Undisputed written on his hat.
I think he'd like to be out tonight. Yeah. I really do. I think he's on fire. I've got to say, he's on fire. He's so happy. I think that's a big key to Tyson, being really happy. And when he's happy, he can half fight better.
You know, sorry, Dave. You know when we were in Morecambe, he was ready then, wasn't he? I mean, off the record, he said, "I'm ready. I'd like to fight." Whether he was physically ready then, he was mentally ready then. He was ready to go.
He was. He was.
Have you had to pull him back a little bit, Spence?
Yeah, we have.
In a nice way.
Yeah, no, we haven't. Sugar has, and we were worried about the overboiling job. You know all about that. You can overboil and go dip down, but I think we got over that. It's calmed down a bit. Not so much sparring. Just sharpening himself up already, and he just seems to be ready, you know.
To be fair, they both do. You know, they both do. I mean, obviously you're focused on Tyson. We're interviewing both.
Listen, let me tell you, Oleksandr Usyk's a phenomenal fighter and a lovely guy. So's his team. So I'm going to say that.
Oh yeah, we know that. And Tyson knows that we've been talking about it. Yeah. You know, he's giving him his dues because he respects him. He knows he's got to be at the top of his game. But I think they're both going to be at the top of the game, and it's just going to be whoever fights the best fight of the night. So you're anticipating
a real big fight?
Yeah. I think they're both going to be top draw.
Yeah. There's no way I see either man winning easy. When Tyson might win all 12 rounds, but every single one of those 12 rounds, he'll have to win. Because you can win a really hard 12-round fight and win every round. I'd be stunned if it's easy. I'd be stunned if this turned out like the second Wilder and Fury fight, you know, where it's an absolute massacre from first bell to end. I'd be amazed, Spence.
Well, I've been looking at the betting, and it's
all easy now.
It's even. It's even money right the way through. Yeah. And everybody you speak to, you know, it's 50-50. Everybody, and people you don't expect to say Usyk are saying Usyk, and the people you not expecting. You know, it's like that.
Good though, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
But Spence, sorry for interrupting. The only problem is, Spence, you can enjoy it, but you can't enjoy it because you're right in the middle of it. So you're not sitting back with your feet out with a Cohiba Esplendido. You're right now.
It's horrible.
It's one of those things you don't fully, properly enjoy until you look back and look at it retrospectively.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine how it was with the Ngannou fight. It was like, you know, going to the change room was like a morgue.
I know, I walked with you to the door. It was dreadful.
Yeah, you did.
We were whispering. It was that bad.
We don't want that to ever happen again. But look,
you know what? That might be the best thing that ever happened. That might be the blessing in disguise, because you know, there was distractions before that fight, and that might have been the case going into this fight.
Listen,
but now it isn't.
We dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Not just Tyson,
And
all
it
of us dropped the
happens.
ball.
It happens.
And it happens.
Well done.
And
Well
it won't happen this time. We've left nothing, absolutely nothing. Our preparation is all there.
Absolutely brilliant, Spencer. I could listen to you all day, but
Thank you.
we've got a long week.
Well, we're probably
going to get you to.
See you later, boys.
I'm going to come out with another rocket quote there, but I'm going to save a few for the week.
He's been doing movie quotes all night. Thanks, lads.
Thank you so much.
See you later,
Spencer.
Spence. Leave the mic, son. Leave us the mic.
Yeah, we'll grab the mic back. Listen, we've got a long week. Steve Bunce, thank you so much.
Pleasure,
Matthew
Dave.
Macklin, thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us. We've got a long week ahead of brilliant fight week activity. That was just the grand arrivals tonight. We are just days away from learning who the first undisputed world heavyweight champion of the century is. Will it be Fury? Will it be Usyk? We'll maybe get a bit more of a glimpse tomorrow at the workouts. Join us then.
A tale as old as time. A legendary champion in search of another champion has found his match. A duel that transcends bullets and dust. Both men undefeated. Both men larger than life itself. Facing each other under the watchful eye of history. Beyond blood, sweat, and fire, and the mercy of the rough seas. Moved by the ravaging rival. Oh, sweet rival. And their fists will speak a language older than words. They will speak loudly. And there is just one way to be remembered for all of eternity. Let's get ready to rumble! At Riyadh! It is time to fight!